at times for later competitions. So it is a good change of pace to have him earlier, so that again these players who are again in the sort of NA region are able to play these games, because it is quite late when we play usually the tournaments.
Yeah,
And here we
definitely.
go.
We did decide a different time, but guys, Blue Sapphire, they're in a match, so tune into Kanzaki when you're able to, guys. So this is it, the very first game of our semifinals. I thought there'd be a quarter, but there's just top four, so this is technically the semifinals. So the winner of this whole best of 5 series will be moving forward into the finals, guys. So let's take a look at what these players are working with.
Kanzaki opening with the Mashuk already, probably looking to pair it obviously with the 2 Vine. The Valorant is also not a bad choice. And both players getting rid of Gaialis. Surprising actually. Again, maybe perhaps there's a lack of sort of just a lack of ways to counter Gaialis in this situation. Of course, that leaves Valash open. So we'll see if Tiki takes advantage of that, or if decides that this will not be a Valash game.
Yeah, I definitely agree with the Gaialis swap. Kanzaki only with the raids. If it's not a special attack raise, then it's not going to be doing a whole lot to Gaialis. And Gaialis with a Haida Uchi always outspeeds it, especially if it doesn't get that minus speed on it. But yeah, not too bad. I mean, there's no fire temps on the side of Tiki, so definitely not having a true answer to Gaialis. And you know, at the highest level, some people are going with Sweatband Gaialis, so possibly eliminating that Sweatband target.
Yep. Sweatband Gaialis is obviously the reason why it's popular is obviously because Gaialis will insta-give anything in its path, and more stamina means just more of that, right? The more the merrier. But of course, the downsides of that is that if you're against someone who just really doesn't like Gaialis, you will never get the opportunity to use that stuff like Gaialis. So that's why you see them used in favor of temps that may actually get some play. But just in case your Gaialis gets to sneak in, obviously the Sweatband on it wouldn't be too bad. But of course, these are great players, so you have to take those kind of risks if you really. If Gaialis is sort of your win condition. But at this point in time, Kanzaki does open with the 2 Vine Mashuk, brings out the Whiplup and Grandpa as well in the back. So we have a solid win lineup, and again, we'll see how Tiki takes this. And already, I mean, the lineups are being dictated. We might have a mirror match here, or almost a mirror match.
Yeah, almost a mirror match. But you know, the key difference, the starting lineup right now is a little bit in favor for Kanzaki. I've played this matchup a good amount of time, and when it's Mashuk 2 Vine versus Volderin Mashuk, the Mashuk 2 Vine tends to get a little bit more momentum. Something like a perfect jab, Crystal Plume Gatling onto the Volderin, knocks it all the way down close to red health already. So it's a big of a momentum lead so far for that lead. Let's see how Tiki's gonna decide to maneuver though somehow to not try to stay too behind.
Yeah, and Kanzaki's opening, of course, the Mashuk, the shiny red Mashuk with the 2 Vine, is a very high defensive opening, so you can't really look at Tiki's openings, aka Volorend and Mashuk, and say, it'll do enough damage through those high defenses. So the trade will definitely not go in favor of Tiki, but we'll see how he makes do of this, as Kanzaki will open with the Mashuk 2 Vine. Very shiny Luma.
Yeah, Luma, perfect 6 out of 7 SV. I think just missing this special attack there. So beautiful, beautiful, competitive Luma. So here it is, guys. Kanzaki representing Crystal Vanguard and Tiki representing Ronin, Chad, guys. Who's going to be taking game 1, trying to get some momentum going into this series of 5? So like I mentioned, guys, is a straightforward play that I've seen a good amount of players do. Just a standard P-jab into Crystal Plume Gatling on the bird does a significant amount of damage. He could also, if he thinks the bird's going to switch, he could easily go with a P-jab Feather Gatling onto Mashuk. That's a solid amount.
Yeah, and there's Kanzaki will do a lot of damage regardless of what occurs here. So perfect jab into the Volarend immediately with Crystal Plume. Gatling most likely will follow suit. Rawrzyy though, gonna punish the 2-Vine at least, drops it to half HP guaranteed. And so the trade, at least in the long term, will be evened out here a little bit. But once this Crystal Plume Gatling comes out, I'm not sure if immediately the effects are visible, because straight into 29% this Volarend.
Yeah, already down to less than 30% health, so he can't handle any more of those attacks. A simple Feather Gatling or Crystal Plume Gatling will surely be enough. So Tiki most likely looking at switching out this bird here. But as always, guys, this is a turn 2 problem. You know, the turn 2 dilemma every tamer faces is this is a setup turn, guys. This is a turbo choreography play into perhaps, you know, Tiki could be looking at a hyperkinetic strike onto the Machoke. And that just might be enough with the turbo choreography from the Machoke on Tiki's end. It might be enough to take it down. But if you leave the bird in, it might be a 1-for-1 trade there. So that's what these players are kind of thinking right now in their heads.
Yeah, the Volarend and the Machoke, the Volarend rather, will be swapped out most likely. I really don't think it's gonna be staying in. But the problem is it really, is what, you know, the thought process is which Tem is swapped in, but Kinu will come out here for the side of Kanzaki, and there is no swap out. Hyperkinetic Strike will be thrown out to the Kinu. Fortunately, Machoke dodges a bullet there, but the uppercut will also do a lot of damage, and 2-Vine closing in on death, but Volarend will get to the grave before he does, and so 2-Vine will get that kill at least.
Yeah, definitely huge read for the Crystal Vanguard side. Kinu coming out, eating that Hyperkinetic Strike perfectly, and you know, you leave the burden, as we said, it will be going down to the hands of 2-Vine. It did come at a pretty good price though, the uppercut hitting 2-Vine, so those 2 ticks remaining on the 2-Vine. Gonna be bringing the 2-Vine pretty low down into that red HP. So I mean, 2-Vine might have done the job though. Might have done the job already. Got the big boy Volarend already down. So one Temtem already down for the side of Ronin Chad. Let's see if he's able to bring things back though.
Yeah. Unfortunately for Kanzaki, if you again both teams are basically mirrored except for the 2-Vine and the Volarend. So just having HP advantage is already very solid, but I'm not quite sure if he's able to take out the 2-Vine before it deals some real damage, because after that point in a mirror match, it's all about who gets the better read, or who becomes greedier and gets away with it.
Yeah, very true. I mean, from the look at things right now, I wouldn't be surprised if both players decide to go with a solid turbo choreography play. Tiki side, we could be seeing a turbo choreography play from the Machoke onto the Grandpa. And then for Kanzaki's side, I wouldn't be too surprised if we get a turbo play from Kinu. Swap out the 2-Vine perhaps for the Wimplump or the Grandpa. Both solid picks here. We'll see what these players decide to do. I know they're discussing it among their teammates. Nothing's pressuring the Kinu too much, and nothing's pressuring the Machoke too much. That's why I'm thinking a good setup turn this turn might be good. You know, whoever gets the speed advantage and the long game will be getting a huge advantage. So let's see if these guys have that in mind.
Consider if you're the only Tem alive, then that speed does not matter. But obviously, Triple Choreograph gonna apply, does not want to take a chance. Of course, will survive both these Tems. Any form of damage there, so a speed trade, but definitely in favor of Tiki, as Wimplump and Kinu not necessarily gonna benefit from having a speed boost more so than a Grandpa and a Machoke.
Yeah, definitely. I think the only benefit of speeding up the Kinu is those hypnosises, right? You get a hypnosis off. It's not gonna be faster than the Grandpa, but you know, you're a mental Temtem, so you're not going to be able to fall asleep yourself, so you're guaranteed to get off a hypnosis at least on one of these Temtems, unless Tiki of course is running energy drink, which I don't think anyone's running it on Machoke or Grandpa. It could be a surprise though, we will see, but most likely either, you know, a coat or hand fan on each respectively. But you know, the pressure's back on Tiki's side, so Wimplump's been on the board for a turn. Tornado is now online, so it could be looking pretty juicy to release it onto Mashuk here.
Swapping though, Grandpa's gonna come out here again, not sped up, so that Grandpa is a little bit risque in terms of its opposing counterpart. Wimplup will be swapped in, and look at this. It's basically a reflection as Turbo Choreograph is applied. Wimplup will speed up, and the Grandpa is already at 4 stages of speed. Tsunami connects, but it's gonna do some decent damage on the Grandpa. The Wimplup will eat that just fine, and again, my concerns is Hyperkinetic Strike probably gonna get thrown out faster. Hypnosis, is Hypnosis faster here than Cold Breath?
Yeah, I mean, if you're talking about the Grandpa, that is a +4 speed Grandpa, so that is clearly the fastest Temtem on the board currently. So anything the Grandpa does will be the fastest. It will outspeed the Cold Breeze. So yeah, Blue, I could see a good line of play. Could be Hypnosis onto the Wimplup. Don't let the Wimplup, can't let the Wimplup get any Cold Breeze off to freeze you there. He's just setting up, so +4 speed. He does got that crazy Hyperkinetic Strike incoming on any Temtem right now, and this situation is always the trickiest situation to try to work your way when you're faced off against a mirror match, when you're faced off against win versus win Tem, right? It's so difficult. It's always so tough situations, but I'm sure these players are going to be making the best line of play.
Yeah, I mean, in this case, Kanzaki's already behind the speed war, so it's gonna be interesting to see how he brings it back. If Hypnosis does come out, unfortunately, then here it comes. It will shut down the Wimplup, so no Cold Breeze or any shenanigans like that cannot occur. Tornado as well thrown out into the Grandpa.
And not too bad there yet. Tornado, like you said, Blue, onto the Grandpa.
Speed up as well though, so it's now even. The speed is now a little bit more even rather, but definitely in terms of how much damage taken, Kanzaki is going to have to find a way to do some damage with just the Grandpa right now, because Wimplup is of course asleep.
Yeah, and that's the thing, when you're win versus win, it does have damage, but you gotta do damage regardless. So we just saw, Tornado on her Grandpa, so I wouldn't be surprised if we just get a solid Hyperkinetic Strike onto Grandpa as well. Unfortunately for Tiki, Bully is not online. Bully's only online on the side of Kanzaki there, so you're not gonna be able to get off that extra 30% damage. But still, as we said, in this win versus win matchup, damage is damage, and eventually the Temtem will go down. So Kanzaki's not trying to risk the Grandpa just yet, trying to bring back the Kinu in here, see if he's going to be eating up one of those attacks.
Raising defenses as well on the Wimplup, and if a Hypnosis does come out, the Kinu will eat it pretty well, which is a good choice there. But of course, Tiki has his own Kinu. Kinu will be coming out there for the side. Grandpa will be resting. Actually, a smart choice. Not doing damage, but it's not like he's sort of forced to really do damage. A good rest, it will help in the long run, especially if your Grandpa has stamina problems, as unfortunately Grandpa does not have that much stamina in comparison to Valorant and such.
Yeah, I totally agree with you there, Blue. I think that was a perfect rest. He would have to overexert to do that Hyperkinetic Strike, so now he doesn't. So Hyperkinetic Strike +4 speed at that Hyperkinetic Strike should be doing huge amount of damage, especially if he wants to go into the Kinu slot. Not so much into that Protector Buff Wimplup, but into that Kinu slot should be doing a good amount of damage, but decides to retreat it instead. So just saving it for a little bit later down the road. Maybe another Turbo?
Oh, this would be a really good advantage of speed, but I'm not sure if there's going to be HP to cover that. Wimplup will take a bit of decent damage from the Beta Burst, but Sharp Rain is a bigger issue as it drops the Wimplup to half. Again, half damage does not mean that it's not going to add up. Turbo Choreography, as mentioned, will be applied again. This Wimplup getting faster and faster.
Yeah, so on the side of Tiki, in terms of speed, he definitely has that. I mean, Kanzaki's been doing a great job too, but Tiki been taking the win here in terms of the speed advantage. That's a +4 Grandpa, +4 Wimplup. We'll see how he's able to utilize this speed here. And guys, we're finding ourselves in another bit of a mirror match again.
Yeah, I mean, both these teams at the moment are literally just looking at each other and saying, "Hey, you're me." But the question is, who's stronger, me?
It's like the Spider-Man meme, right?
yeah. He's the imposter. No, he's the imposter. But absolutely, right now, Tikibook is faster, but the question will be again, will there be the HP to back this up? So swap out to the Grandpa. The Wimplup will take a back seat. Now we'll see if there will be some damage output. So Choreograph again, just maxing out the Grandpa for now, or just getting there at this point. Tornado will connect on the Kinu as well. The Kinu, low stamina, will take a lot of damage from that Tornado. Revitalize, a very good use here of that rest time for Kanzaki, taking advantage of that swap out very nicely.
Yeah, we see it here when it's this win versus win meta. It's gonna be a slow but steady race to the victory here. You know, with this revitalized, the Kinu buffs, and the half effective damage from all these wind temps, it's gonna be a bit, you know, we're not gonna have some explosive bursts of damage like we were used to seeing in these Swiss rounds. So this is gonna be quite the complicated game, and Tiki doing a great job keeping his Temtems healthy so far.
Yeah, I mean, unless of course there's a major mistake that occurs, yeah, this should be a slower paced game. We won't see any action until at least round 12, 13, at least in terms of Temps getting picked off here. But I mean, Kanzaki's Kinu's quite close, so we might see that get picked off if he's not careful. But again, it should still be a little bit of a slow burner. Hyperkinetic Strike will definitely scare off Tikibook's Kinu away.
I agree with you, Blue. I think a key to Tiki's victory here is taking out the Kinu. If you're left with the only Kinu and you're gonna get more value out of your Kinu down the line, that's gonna be huge momentum for Tiki. Unfortunately though, he doesn't have a big move so far. Unless he's of course running something like Blizzard, it still won't be enough to do the remaining 38% on the Kinu, but still, you know, damage is damage, as we've been saying all game. And not too bad of a play there. But we will see both players, and actually going dangerously though on reserve time. I hope these guys clicked attack.
Hopefully they don't think about the moves too much. Of course, you have other turns to think about. There's a bully being used to full potential. They're dropping the Kinu to half. Literally exactly half, actually. You know, so will be thrown out as well. Whipple will be shut down. As unfortunately, it is not fast enough. But Choreography gonna change that. Gonna tie it up again.
Yeah, if it wasn't fast enough, it definitely is. That is a max speed of Wimplump plus 4 speed Kinu. So this been the tail of the take so far, is just turbo. Everything on the side of Tiki and Kanzaki has received a turbo, except for the Tuvine that kind of had low health, so didn't necessarily want to risk it.
Yeah, I mean, at this point, the Tuvine is simply here to bite another hit if Kanzaki ever needs it. Of course, that sounds a bit mean, but like that's mostly what it is here for. It's done its job in the opening, get you a 10 advantage, and you know, you have, you know, advantage giveth and advantage taketh away. As Zaki definitely does have to trade that out. There's no reason to keep that Tuvine in to actually do some damage. It's just too slow, especially in a battle of soaring birds. Something as heavy as a Tuvine definitely will not be flying.
Yeah, so this is quite the complicated play, right? I mean, no one's doing true damage, so you just gotta do as little as you can. I mean, a solid wind burst onto Kinu maybe just to do some damage. We could also just rest for a huge hyperkinetic strike next turn, but instead huge sacrifice onto Wimplump. So a max speed Wimplump now with some crazy stats, guys. Let's take a look.
Ooh, raised defense. Sharp Brain almost puts the Grandpa into lethal range, and the Kinu's already been swapped out, so Grandpa will not get a Revitalize of the Swords or nothing like that. Grandpa for Tikibook will come back out, and this is the ideal scenario for Tikibook right now. Grandpa low, makes it very predictable if there will be a swap out, right? Because if Kanzaki is rattled here, Grandpa getting swapped out for 2-5 might be very predictable and readable, and he might just double up on the Whiplup instead.
Yeah, very true. And you know, Kinu on the side Kanzaki hasn't gone down just yet, so I wouldn't be surprised if we just get a simple Kinu into that Grandpa slot, just buff up the Wimplump a little bit more, matching the Wimplump on Tiki's side, but still with the Kinu there, so maybe able to get off another protector buff a little bit down the road if it doesn't go down, of course. It is half effective though, the tsunami perhaps incoming.
Yeah,
well, we could get
Grand Bust.
I was just gonna say we could get just a solid tornado onto the Grandpa slot from Wimplump. That's just guaranteed good damage. I believe, if I remember correctly, it did like 25%, so maybe enough to take down the Grandpa by itself.
Yeah, perhaps. It was, I believe it was around 19%, so yeah, the Grandpa has to leave. It's too risky, so the Gambited 2-Vine will come back out here. Will most likely bite the bullet. Hyperkinetic Strike will connect, and that's a lot of wasted stamina. That's a very good value on the 2-Vine there. Forcing out so much stamina is quite massive. The Tsunami, speaking of massive, will also connect here, as that's little damage, but it's about that freeze that's important. Tsunami in kind on the side of Kanzaki is gonna do a little bit on the Grandpa, but the Whiplup and the Grandpa definitely on the side of Tiki have more HP than their counterparts. The problem right now is that there are 3 Tems left on Tikibook, so he has to be very careful with how much damage these Tems take.
Yeah, very true. And we did see Tiki. He does have a max speed Wimplump, so he does got the speed advantage over Kanzaki's Wimplump. So a cold breeze could be freezing it if Kanzaki wants to leave in his Wimplump here. You know, a big thing though. Oh no, he didn't take down the Grandpa just yet.
Right now, there's still 4 Tems on the side of Kanzaki, albeit quite a few of them are low. Actually, I'm concerned about this because 3 low Tems are not better than 2 high HP Tems. That's for sure.
Yeah, I'm curious. I think Kanzaki's just thinking what to bring out. Maybe the Kinu. It is going to be the Grandpa though.
This is so dangerous. This Grandpa is not faster than the Whiplup on the side of Tikibook. Obviously, Hyperkinetic doesn't care about that, but he doesn't have access to that at the moment. At least, I don't think he does. Maybe he does actually.
I think he rested and then he took it out. So it rested, Hyperkinetic went online, and then he retreated. So it could be online, but you know, a potential better line of play. Grandpa, usually they run a lot more speed TVs than Wimplump, right? So even that final additional +1 speed on Wimplump, I think Grandpa Hypnosis could still maybe outspeed it, but it might be really close. Because if you could sleep the Wimplump here, I don't think Grandpa will be able to take you down. But actually, it might. One Hyperkinetic Strike from Tiki might actually take down Kanzaki's Grandpa here.
Yeah, this is so dangerous for Kanzaki. His Tems are too low HP to really continue very safely. Hyperkinetic Strike almost gonna pick off the opposing Grandpa, but that's what Tornado is gonna be trading in kind, and this is what I was worried about. Will this be enough damage? Yes, it will be. The Tornado, exactly enough damage, as you mentioned. Roughly 25% Wind Burst will connect as well in the Whiplup, but just a little tickle. But Tornado will be traded. We'll see if that does enough damage as well. No, it does not. The raised special defense coming into fruition for the side of Tikibook. That Grandpa's alive and will get another attack off at least, and that's not a good look, as there's a Mashuk in the back pocket, and you don't really want to bring a Mashuk out to get one shot by one of these brave birds.
Yeah, both of these tamers have been keeping the Mashuk in the backline the whole time. They want nothing to do with Wimplump. They want nothing to do with Grandpa. So they're just waiting, you know, Mashuk on both ends. I mean, on Tiki's, it hasn't even gotten an attack off.
Oh no, this is a disaster.
Yeah, so Grandpa didn't use Hyperkinetic Strike the previous turn, right? Or did it just do it?
I believe it did. It wind bursted previous turn, so it did not. It does have hyperkinetic strike now, and that's what scares me the most.
That's what I was wondering.
Yeah.
If hyperkinetic strike's online right now, you can simply retreat it and just save it for the Machoke. I think at this speed, that +4 speed, it'll easily one-shot that Machoke in the back line. I'm seeing 0.0 on the reserve side for Tiki. I hope that's a bit of a visual bug. Hopefully not running truly out of time. But yeah, Blue, that Kinu buff on the Grandpa coming in so clutch, as you mentioned, because we just saw how much Tornado did on the Grandpa, so it almost returned the favor. But and it was a Kinu buff, right? I can't see the scoreboard here.
Yes. Yeah. So it does have 1 point of 1 stage raised for defense and special defense, and that's the only reason why it survived. I believe it does like 23.5% damage on a tornado, and you reduce that by 6%, and that's enough to spare its life. Machoke will come back out. Kanzaki, he's willing to bite the bullet. This Machoke is gonna get one shot with a hyperkinetic strike, and it will go goodbye. As the Machoke is not built for large hurricanes the size of a red bird. So frozen Whiploop as well. So unable to do anything. Kanzaki again had the Tem advantage, but just the lack of HP finally gets to him. Unable to seal the deal on a bunch of these Tems, and Tiki managing to get defenses raised in time have all led up to this moment. Kanzaki, his Whiploop, it's strong, but not that strong. I don't think so, at least. We'll have to see.
I mean, it's strong, and +4 speed, 3 protector buffs, making it defense 3, special defense +3. So, I mean, it's a tanky boy, a little bit more tankier than Tiki's Whiploop. But Tiki still has a Machoke. 1 tornado won't be killing it outright, so you could get a good old, Ursul, or at least just some damage from the Machoke. I mean, he does got Kinu, and Kinu does got things like Revitalize. It's gonna depend though. This bird at +4 speed, okay, once you retreat it, brings out the Machoke. Let's see what the Kinu decided to do. Are we getting a Hypnosis?
Tornado comes out. I mean, we won't even know if the tornado picks off the Kinu here, and it does. There will be nothing there for the side of Kanzaki. The Whiploop overexerts for that, but I say stamina well spent. Machoke will take a blizzard to the face and will survive, and this feels like a very difficult task. Yes, Whiploop is very patient, that's his trait, but that's not enough stamina, I don't think, to face off three Tems. We'll have to see. Whiploop is out of commission, so this Machoke might get picked off, and Kanzaki is not out of the woods yet. If he manages to pull a sneaky one and do enough damage, he is straight back into this.
Yeah, it's actually a lot closer than it seems. It seems like 1 Temtem and 3 Temtem, but looking at the back line, Whiploop now has Tornado online, so Machoke already out of here, right? The Grandpa comes in, it doesn't have Hyperkinetic Strike online, but what it does have, it has Hypnosis, and both being at +4 speed, Whiploop on Kanzaki's side will be going to sleep, so Tiki might have this in the bag. We will see though.
Throws out a tornado, of course, a lot of stamina. The Whiploop on the side of Tikibook had to take a rest. Grandpa comes back out at 0.5% HP. Actually, I don't know who's winning now, because if you look at the HP pools, Grandpa doesn't have Hyperkinetic Strike. It's not as fast. Sharp Rain is available. Tsunami is available. Kanzaki.
Well, remember, Blue, Hypnosis is online, right? Hypnosis is online, and both matching speed. At +4 speed, Grandpa is faster than the Whiploop. So it's gonna fall asleep here.
I don't know. The Tiki is gonna wake up Kanzaki's Tem. There's no doubt in my mind about that. So Hypnosis comes out here, maybe. Just gonna rest up while the Whiploop is asleep, but I'm so concerned that once Tsunami comes out here, that Kanzaki actually has all the tools in the toolkit to seal this deal. He does have higher defenses raised as well, so you can't underestimate an extra 50% defense.
Yeah, very true. The thing is though, he could double rest here. He could double rest and then just let Kanzaki's Whiploop wake up. And then you got a good old hyperkinetic strike with the bully trait activated, so an additional tiny bit 30%, but hey, 30% is 30% additional damage. And then it's gonna be a one, you know, it probably brings down Kanzaki's Wimplump similar to the HP pool of Tiki's Wimplump, so it's gonna be neck and neck. Tiki might be winning this in terms of stamina though, right? Because it's gonna be running low pretty soon for Kanzaki.
Kanzaki did get a free rest because it was asleep though, so you never know. Until this bug is fixed, we'll never know exactly how much stamina these Tems will have. But the one thing's for sure, Tsunami is definitely on the plate. Tornado, Sharp Rain, there's a lot of things here that Kanzaki has shown that he does have, and they do a lot of devastating amounts of damage. The question will be if this hero, Wimplump, will take the first game for the side of Crystal Vanguard, or will Ronin Chad take this not handedly, but definitely secured.
Yeah, I mean, game one, always getting one up. So here we go, hyperkinetic strike. How much is gonna do? It's around 70%, all the way down to 55%.
It did. Oh, that was scary. It did not do as much damage as I expected. Sharp Rain connects, and it does as little as expected as well. It didn't do as much as I hoped. It only drops it to 45%, and the Tsunami will definitely lower both these Tems down. 7% damage on the opposing side Wimplump, and it's the stamina battle now.
Yeah.
And let's see. Oh, no.
You know, stamina battle, and at the same time, it's gonna come down, you know, Kanzaki's Wimplump is special defense +3 compared to +2. I believe that's a difference of somewhere, and I know it's not exactly always 50%. I think it scales down the higher it goes, so somewhere between, you know, like 20-30% difference between these. But it's gonna, as you said, Blue, it's gonna come down to stamina. Kanzaki only has about one more attack left. So let's see how it's gonna play out here.
Oh, the cheeky. This is very cheeky. He's gonna use Cold Breeze to buy himself some time. Blizzard's gonna get thrown out here though, and drops to red. And so, ooh, he's gonna be using freezes to buy himself some time to just punish the Wimplump. But again, this is quite cheeky. Just being faster is giving him this opportunity to do this, and freezing the Wimplump in place will get him one free attack, and this drags this game closer as he refuses to let this sneaky 40% Wimplump take this game away from him. He had this in the bag. He got a lot more damage off, but his attacks are just doing nothing.
As the protector buffs, and remember the wind and water attacks, which is all Wimplump has, is half effective. So both were just playing the little grindy game, right? Just little by little.
Yeah, exactly.
Kanzaki doing a bit more damage, so maybe that's gonna come into effect here.
Yeah, I mean, unless one of these Wimplump evolve into a Toxic Temp, this will be a very long haul. Sharp Rain gets thrown out here. We'll see how much damage that does. Oh, it does 11%, which means he needs 2 more Sharp Rains to kill off Tikibook.
Wait, a tornado though. A tornado, can it do 13%? Tornado goes first. 13%? No.
1.4% HP, but that's not what's important. What's important here is, can Tikibook do 25% damage in 2 turns? I don't think the answer is yes.
Yeah, the answer is definitely a hard no. Sharp Rain not going to be taken into tornado range, so you know, he rested this turn. So they both have Tornado online again. I think Kanzaki's going to be taking it here. Tornado going to come out with those 3 protector buffs. I don't think it's going to be enough, is it? No, it's not.
Drops this percent. Yeah. Unfortunately, it overexerts as well to do that. So again, it was an all-out move. Unfortunately, Kanzaki
looks like they're in, guys. So Golld representing Crystal Vanguard, Nervon representing Ronin Chad. Is Nervon gonna try to bring things back around, try to get a victory for them, or is Golld gonna keep pushing forward, make it a 2-0 so far?
Ooh, Golld. I mean, looking at these comps are perfect. Look, Gyalis. Gyalis. I mean, what more can I say?
Yeah, yes indeed. We got pretty much the most standard starts in all the Temtem right now. We got our Kinu Gialis, and then our Volorin, Yukama, some coined as Volkama sometimes. Volkama start always a prominent good opening.
Yeah. I mean, name a more iconic opening, right? The Gialis Kinu versus Volorin Ukama. You burst the Gialis or you burst the Kinu. The Gialis gets a heat up, and then we play ball game from there, right? I mean, that opening is so set in stone that if any other move is played, it feels just losing, right? Because yeah, I mean, if for the Gialis side, if you don't heat up, you just lose an opportunity to gain your advantage, and then on the Ukama Volorin side, you lose the opportunity to punish this opening. So again, it's very hard to make a variety out of this opening, and that's how much I appreciate it. Because then we have to, because then most of the options is in that second round, and I think the nuance is definitely in the second round. I wouldn't want to see players lose a advantage in the first round immediately.
Yeah, we will see how these players want to start kicking things off for the very first turn here in our semifinals. Golld versus Nervon. Let's see who's going to be getting a little bit better of each other. I mean, the protective buff already working, and it's been turn 1. That's why the trade is so good. You don't even have to start playing the game, and it already is doing its job. We got a protective buff onto Gialis. So keeping things standard, we could just get a double up onto Gialis, something like a water cannon with the toxic synergy followed by the feather gatling, because I don't think the Kinu's gonna be staying in here.
Yeah, I mean, standard procedure is the Kinu leaves and then something is swapped in, or the Kinu stays in to essentially beta burst or provide some sort of setup, but usually the Kinu does leave. It doesn't really have a set first turn move aside from beta burst, so I wouldn't be surprised there.
Yeah, you know, we could also Noxious Bomb into the Kinu slot since nothing in the backline can really take it, but it looks like it's going to be a double up on Gialis as we mentioned. So Feather Gatling going into Gialis, and that was a huge thing to note, Blue. Did you catch that?
Aerobic, yes! It's an aerobic bull run, which means that this Gialis is not going to have a free game, especially if the opposing side's Volorin is able to get online. But heat up will be traded as usual, and again, advantage goes the way of the Gialis player, at least for turn 1, but the second turn is what's telling, because Gialis at 50% HP just means that if he does get hit with another Water Cannon into another Feather Gatling, he will go down, and Hyperkinetic Strike is available. So Golld definitely will probably swap out here. There's no doubt in my mind, unless Nervon thinks that, and then we get the shenanigans where Golld stays in because Nervon swaps out, and again, for Nervon, the best play is just keep his Temtem in here, remove that chance of a green play, so Grandpa will be swapped in to eat that Hyperkinetic Strike when it does come out, and that's not really a bad thing here. It just raises the speed even further and ascend even higher. That Grandpa, yeah, it's a flying, it's a wind temp, but it still took so much damage. Turbo Choreography just gonna try and match the Volorin's pace, and Yukama obviously gonna throw in an Aquatic Whirlwind just to do so much damage here. The Grandpa drops to red health already, and this Grandpa is not having a good day.
Yeah, fortunately, he did get a Turbo Choreography with the Wind Synergy, so that's +2 speed, so it is gonna be faster than the Vola and the Yukama. And it has Hyperkinetic Strike online right now, so a -2 special defense aerobic Volorin on Nervo's side is not feeling safe whatsoever. And you know, interesting enough, it looks like Crystal Vanguard's team actually took note of Nervon's team a little bit earlier in the tournament, because you will never see a beta burst into an anaerobic bird, but they had to know, you know, the teamwork makes the dream work. And Kinu beta bursting into Vola showed me at least that there was some communication that Nervon did indeed have an aerobic bird, so really good communication on their end.
Yeah, of course it has evolved, right? Back in the day, Kinu beta burst wasn't very unusual, but nowadays, because anaerobic is so common to build as a tank rather than an actual DPS, you don't see aerobic as often. So again, Golld being told that info, saying, hey, this burn his aerobic, do not let it get attacks off for free, and will get away for now. And the Grandpa will match here for the side of Nervon as his damage has already been dealt. Kinu will be leaving as well for the Gaialis. Second turn here, just trying to set up some heavy burst damage. Hypnosis will be thrown out to shut down the Okama, most certainly, as it is the biggest fast cannon, but there's an energy drink in there, and some sort of choreograph is going to apply, and now the speed is equalized. That was a very good energy drink surprise and Golld.
Yeah, surprise indeed. That is a Yukama with an energy drink, and actually I'm surprised Grandpa outsped a Yukama. The turbo choreography with the wind synergy is it's a 4 prior move, but it's still, I guess, the +2 speed being faster than that. But you know, energy making all the difference, guaranteeing those speeds. So now Aquatic Whirlwind could be back online. I don't think it's going to take down the Gyalis here, so he has to be careful with overexerting so much to do so. Of course, it does take down the Grandpa, but he could easily just switch it to the back line, something like Kinu, and then eat up that water damage really well. So I'm actually pretty curious what Nervon's line of play is going to be.
Bigger concern I would have for Golld is if Nervon just goes from broke hyperkinetic aquatic whirlwind to the Gaialis spot, right? Like what can really eat that? Yeah, Sconch. You don't really want to drop so many temps to red. I mean, you don't want to suck Gaialis either. So there's so many problems here for Golld, and unfortunately, wasting that hypnosis on a energized drink, Okama will suck, and Gaialis will be swapped out here. Gets 2 stats raised, and the Bastion will be swapped in. So
I think you're right, Blue. I think it's going to be a double-double into the Gyalis. Is Tsunami going to be enough to take down Bastion? I think it might be.
Tsunami comes in, will do a lot of special attack, and it will. Bastion will get picked off here, and the cold debuff will be applied to the Kinu, and the Bastion dies for the Gyalis insane. But that means that the strongest hitting abilities have been removed from play. But I feel like this Okama has gotten more than what it's bargained for. It's forced the Grandpa into hiding. The Gaialis is in a good spot to do some raw damage, but there's a pig in the back. There's still a Ninja in the back. Nervon is in a very big HP advantage right now.
Yeah, very true. The aerobic bird with hyperkinetic strike. Actually, no, I think it retreated after hypro, so maybe not just yet. But something going for it is, as you said, Blue, both of the big hitting moves, Aquatic Whirlwind, Hyperkinetic Strike, have already been used. So Gyalis a little bit in free reign here. The hardest hitting move that could be coming out here is just a simple Wind Burst. Yukama overexerted, so Gyalis pretty much guaranteed to get off an insane Crystal Bite. Let's see who it's going to be directed to. Maybe a double swap for Nervon. Nope.
So just a Ninja Sill. Hypnosis is going to get thrown up. Gaialis is actually slower, and this is never a sight you want to see. Your Gaialis is slower than the Grandpa. That means you will be just put to sleep like this every so often if you are not careful. So the Gaialis basically just misses a turn as the Grandpa forces it to sleep, and Hyperkinetic Strike is now available along with Toxic Ink, along with Allergic Spread. So Nervon might just try and double up on the key to kill that off as fast as possible, get rid of that support, and Gaialis will be vulnerable as, every temp down means one less temp you can use to protect your Gaialis with, and Grandpa isn't the tankiest thing in the universe right now for Golld.
Yeah, very true. I mean, we did see there, that was a sweatband Grandpa, so Hyperkinetic Strike back online. Let's see how much it's gonna do all the way down to 45, so maybe not enough to get the job done with the Ninja.
Fortunately, Ninja still doesn't even get a chance. Hypnosis will be thrown out as that is quite a fast temp. Crystal Bite will do a lot of devastating damage against the Grandpa, but not lethal. Golld. I think that's a little bit of sign that this Gaialis has a little bit more HP than attack, and obviously the Gaialis wouldn't be living if it didn't have enough HP TVs. So Golld, unfortunately, that sacrifice shows itself there as the Grandpa is not eliminated. Or can it even one-shot the Grandpa?
I don't think it gets straight up one-shot. Even at max attack, it gets close, but one-shotting is quite the big feat to do. But still, I mean, I think Gyalis is just mainly staying safe due to those protector buffs, right? That's already 2 protector buffs plus a revitalize plus another revitalize. So that's a 50% increase from the revitalize itself.
Absolutely, Sharp Stabs is thrown out. The Pig Epic will be eating that, but the snare catches whatever Gyalis was holding. I'm not sure what it was, but I have a strange feeling it's wind related. Or no, it didn't have the coat on it, so I'm not sure what that snared, actually.
Yeah, I don't think it triggered yet. It didn't show up on the screen. It might have been something simple like an umbrella. We might have seen it turn 1 when the Yukama attacked into it. Actually, no, he swapped out. Oh, no, he kept it in, so maybe we saw it turn 1.
Yeah, I mean, regardless, we ain't seeing it again. So, right now, Nervon in a position of, in a solid position, I would say. Again, still has the HP advantage, but this Kinu being the most obnoxious little creature, keeping the Gyalis alive, and Nervon has to change his focus fire a little bit here if he does want to finally get rid of this Gyalis. You know, take out the feet of the pillar rather than the top of it, and it will come crumbling down. Hypnosis will be thrown out. The Pig Epic will be unable to do anything. Again, the speed on this Kinu is definitely a big factor. Allergic Spread gonna get thrown out, and this is a big way to deal with Kinu and Gyalis at the same time. You can't revitalize yourself and your Gyalis, unfortunately. So Bite will be thrown out here, trying to do as much damage as possible. Ninja will be dropped to 31%, and the Gyalis is out of stamina. Will be forced to go back unless he wants to eat something for free.
And man, Gyalis just doing so much. Did about 80% damage on the Grandpa, doing about 70% damage on the Ninja, and then a Sharp Stab doing about 50% on the Pig. Gyalis is just such a monster, guys. Gyalis almost single-handedly doing so much to Nervon's team. But as you said, Blue, running low on that stamina supply, so does have to take a little bit of a chill pill coming up these next turns. And yeah, Allergic Spread does connect. So only 2 ticks of poison due to that resistance on the Gyalis. Let's take a look potentially what he could be swapping out this Gyalis for.
Which is really the only viable option unless he wants to put the Grandpa in a compromised position. But yeah, this will be interesting.
You know, we've seen it before where, you know, if the Gyalis feels relatively safe, it could have just go up with the rest. You know, it's already poisoned. It can't be poisoned again. So something like Allergic Spread doesn't scare Golld's Gyalis here. The Pig is sleeping. So honestly, I wouldn't be surprised if we get one again, a Revitalize and a Rest on the Gyalis. It might come at the cost of the Kinu if Ninja wants to Toxic Ink into Kinu. But at least your Gyalis is safe then.
If your Kinu has sacrificed, I mean, this is probably a good time to use it. Raise your Gyalis to basically its almost maximum levels, and the opposing side's Volaran hasn't been set up properly, so it won't be able to punish. But the hero of Nervon's team comes back out, the Ukama, as Revitalize is used, overexerts the Kinu, but a small price to pay is Bark Shield. That's a very good ability, especially against Gyalis, as you have basically nullified what Heat Up is supposed to do.
Yeah, I mean, not gonna be doing a whole lot. +2 defense is quite the feat to go over, but Gyalis is quite the beast to do the job. So, you know, still gonna be doing a good chunk of damage because, I mean, a Crystal Bite at this HP would have most likely one-shot the Yukama, so it's gonna be able to live that for sure. The question is though, where do you direct these attacks from Yukama? I mean, you're not gonna one-shot this Gyalis.
It does have access to Water Cannon, Aquatic Whirlwind. I mean, you could Toxic Ink into Aquatic Whirlwind, force the Gyalis, dropping it low, because now the Kinu is out of gas. The Kinu is overexerted, so it can't really stop you from bursting the Gyalis, and I'm sure Golld understands that it will I keep saying he's gonna swap it out, but he might just stubborn and stay here. But the Kinu will definitely swap out as it is overexerted. His Crunch will come out here to finally do some action. The double high toe action will be very, very good as long as it is able to be used here, but Aquatic will be thrown out on the Gaialis. Sharp Stabs is used, overexerting, but the defense was raised. Golld. He does not use all his stamina, luckily, but Allergic Spread gonna punish Gaialis for staying in, and that is so dangerous. The Gaialis will live at 7% HP, and that's not a number you like seeing on your Gaialis.
Yeah, not whatsoever. And Yukama with the +2 speed guarantees a water cannon going off before Gaialis. Gaialis just used the 3 prior move Sharp Stab, so Golld most likely understanding this, not trying to leave it on the board. But I mean, maybe down the line, you know, you can keep the Gaialis in the back line. But right now, doesn't really got an ideal switch. I guess it could be Kinu to try to eat up that water cannon. But it could be a double. It could be a Toxic Ink water cannon coming from the Nidrasil too. That is, of course, if Skunch doesn't do something like a Hydro Uchi onto Nidrasil and drop it to sleep.
Yeah, Haito will not kill the Nidrasil here, and it's swapped out, rightfully so. Volaran comes back out to eat these attack moves, as its special defense is the only thing affected, so Gaialis will have to leave at 7% HP. Kinu comes back out here to eat whatever Aquatic Whirlwind is going to be used. A Protector buff as well, going to benefit the Skunch quite a bit. Tsunami will be thrown out here, doing a lot of damage. Kinu is going to survive, and will have enough stamina, I believe, to at least do a Revitalize, keep the Skunch in this fight. But the Volaran is here, and you gotta watch out for those hypos.
Yeah, this is pretty huge here. I mean, I don't think the Kinu currently has anything to do to take down Yukama, so I think it's rather safe to just go with a good old Hyperkinetic Strike onto the Skunch. You know, it arrived last turn, so if it didn't have it online when it came in, it has it online currently, so I think that's rather a safe play, as Yukama can't really go down here. And
well, I mean, sorry, I just want to say, like, I'm concerned. If you look at Golld's team, his HP pool is not. There's nothing there. There's just a lack of HP here. And yes, he does have speed advantage, but on how many Tems, Hyperkinetic Strike will come out. There's nothing you can do about this. Skunch is not gonna live through it, and this is not looking very good. This is looking very grim.
Oh, and actually decides to go with an Aquatic Whirlwind, not saving it for a little bit later. I guess just wanted to eliminate the Kinu. I guess saving the Volaran some HP. It could have been a Beta Burst onto the bird. At -3 special defense, it was going to be doing a good amount of damage.
I mean, the two highest damage output for Golld comes out, but look at their HPs. I mean, the Volaran can fly by, and the Gaialis will shatter into little pieces. He has to be careful. It's just not fast enough. The Gaialis doesn't have a speed boost, I believe, so this does not look like something Golld can come back from. The Grandpa will have to fight 5 Tems. Big Epic is still in the back pocket, and FC is still there.
Yeah, you're totally right, Blue. There's no poison ticks, there's no anything, so if you want to take down the pig, you're gonna be taking down yourself. One thing Golld does have going for him is he still has that Hyperkinetic Strike, and with Volaran being -3 special defense, that should be enough to take it down. Let's see if it's triggered, but Tornado 3 prio +3 speed. Gaialis is gonna be going down, even if it costs it its life. I think it was definitely worth it.
Yeah, absolutely. Unfortunately, Gaialis doesn't even get the chance to tag team with the Grandpa. Unfortunately, not fast enough. No speed boosts means no service. Hyperkinetic Strike will be traded, as you mentioned, on the Volaran, but Volaran's happy with that. He's traded his life for the main carry of Golld, and now Grandpa has to fight 4 Tems by itself at 90% HP. This is not going to be enough.
Yeah, I mean, really good match nonetheless, but yeah, Nervon turning things around for Ronin. Chad, gonna be making this a 1-1 series so far.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, the first game was a small series of jabs and, you know, small jabs, small blocks here and there. And this game was more like Nervon saying, no, haymaker, and straight into the floor, as he says, no, I refuse to let you let you take another game off of us, and this is quite a statement. Just again, 4 Tems are still alive on his field. Golld was shut down from every corner, got punished way too hard with every movement, and doesn't even get the kill on the last grandpa here, as he will be going down. And again, well played by Nervon. Gets the game for
And
Ronin.
Nervon may be revealing a little something there. Ashidashi, I guess didn't need to, but I guess to confirm the kill. And there we go, guys. Ronin chat bringing things when they're in blue. So here we go. It is going to be game 3 of our semifinals. Alver representing Crystal Vanguard, the #1 seed, and Vziman in for Ronin Chad, guys. So let's take a look at the lineup, see if we see anything out of the ordinary. And it looks pretty standard to me.
Yeah, I mean, I actually quite like Alver's team here. Obviously, guys got banned, but that's that's norm now at this point. His team does run the sort of toxic, slower, damage-based moves. And a little bit reliant on speed, of course. And we'll have to see how it does against Vziman, who has access to the. What you gonna do about it, opening? I was about to say it. Oh my god.
So what you're gonna do is out on the board here, but Alver has a really good answer to it. Picks up the Mastion.
Yeah, I mean, Alver had the answer to what you gonna do about it. I'll pick a Mastion. And this is
and I guess that's what you're gonna do about it, huh? Pick a Mastion. That's the answer, guys.
Exactly. But of course, Vziman, the idea of a what you're gonna do about it opening is that at least one of these Tems will get their desired benefit. And Alver is not the type of it doesn't. If you look at his build does not look like something that can turbo choreograph in the 2nd or 3rd round. So if anything, right, he does have time before he is outsped, because the problem with this combo is that if they're outsped, even though they're quite fast base-wise, if they get outsped, your double damage combination of disaster will not pan out, and you will just be left with 2 half HP Reapers. So you have to be careful.
Yeah, very true. So picking up the double water to try to deal with the Mastion, not going to be doing a whole lot against the other 3 remaining, or sorry, the other three Temtem on Alver's team. Let's see who's going to pick up to round out that team. Possibly Mashuk, not too bad. Also does good damage to both Gialis and Mashuk. Or sorry, not Mashuk, Valash.
Oh yeah, this is interesting. Alver has to decide here if he wants more damage or more durability, because definitely Mashuk will not be winning awards for most damage outputted. Wimplip and Grandpa will be scaring it off, and will commit to the Mashuk just for down the line.
Yeah, definitely a tough choice. As you mentioned, Blue, the Grandpa and the Wimplump can easily scoop at that Mashuk. But guys, let's find out how the cookie's gonna crumble here in game number 3 of the semifinals. As we mentioned, Alver versus Bog, or as we know him in game, Vziman. So this is gonna be pretty good to see here. I wonder if we're gonna get. I mean, we're obviously gonna get a heat up, but I wonder if we're also just gonna get the madness buff. So double setup. It might be a bit risky for the Valash, don't you think, Blue? You think something like a Ember's Feather Gatling will get the job done?
It shouldn't kill the Valash. It will drop to roughly 30%. I would say roughly 30 to 20%. It will be in a dangerous territory, but then you leave the Gialis to shine, and the Gialis stays in, gets a Hytale off, shuts down the Mastion, right? So you have to figure out what you want to focus down specifically. Otherwise, you will not be getting your money's worth. The other thing I want to point out is that we might see a drill impact. Probably not. But that would have been a very good surprise. But Heat Up will come out here.
Oh, he's risking it. If this is a double on Valash, the Valash is going to be going down, guys. Embers is way too strong, especially coming out from Mastion. Is it going to be enough to do 60? I think it is, guys.
Ooh, throws an obnoxious bomb here. Embers will be thrown out 60% damage, and the bird will be just enough. So the Valash will sacrifice its life to get a heat up for free, and that's the gambit you pay, right? To
yeah,
get
huge,
that Gialis.
Huge gambit. And yeah, I think he notched his bomb just in case Vlash swapped out for something like this Yukama or the Wimplump. So not bad there, and you get the setup already. So going up against a Vlash, you need to get that setup. So yeah, notched his bomb. So yeah, imagine if that was a Feather Gatling, that would have been way more than enough to take down the Vlash. So really good play for Alver. That is already one Vlash down. So Vziman already a little bit behind here, just in the second turn.
I mean, this Bastion opening pickup by Alver was the perfect the counter, right? If you want to open with the what you're going to do about it, you have to be prepared to basically meet whatever the opponent is going to do in the face. And Vziman was up to the challenge. The question is if he stays tenacious through this, because right now he's already one temp down immediately with no retaliation. Obviously, the heat up is important, but that will be all to show for that dead Vlash at the moment.
Yeah, very true. The question is here, Alver does not want to keep this Bastion in, especially with the Yukama, especially with the Haida Uchi coming in.
Yeah, this is gonna be an interesting turn of events here. We'll have to see. Does come to fruition.
Yeah, could be pretty good. Okay, going with the double swap, guys. So Mashuk and Nidrasil not trying to have any of that pressure coming its way from the Yukama or the Gialis to see where it's gonna go. Okay, Crystal Bite on the Mashuk.
Yeah, Crystal Bite and a water cannon into the Nidrasil. Obviously, that was the Bastion supposedly. But a split damage there from Vziman, and remember, I mean, I'm very against splitting up your damage. If you're gonna do damage, you have to focus something down, because if two things live down the line, they will not. They will just come back and punish you even harder. And Vziman doing decent damage, it's not enough to compensate for the dead Vlash yet, and the Gialis is already out of stamina. So I feel like right now there's a really there's a rough likelihood that Vziman will have his work cut out for him, as Mashuk has a Rawrzyy, and either one of these temps being affected by that vortex of poison will hurt.
Yeah, definitely does have the Urusol and the allergic spread, and nothing in Bog's team can take any toxic pressure. So allergic spread gonna get the full value, the Urusol gonna get the full value here. So this is tough. So as you said, Blue, running out of stamina will be retreated the Gialis. So out comes the Wimplump. Are we gonna get a turbo here though? No.
It's a tsunami into double toxic temp. This is perhaps predicted a double swap out. Well, I mean, the freeze will be very nice, but Rawrzyy will definitely be punishing this Wimplump swap in, and the toxicing as well on the Yukama will not put anybody any favors, as that's quite a dangerous gambit. I mean, Vziman is playing gambit after gambit, see what sticks, but you're sacrificing a lot of HP for an attempt to shut something down. But this is very tricky.
Yeah, very, very tricky indeed. I mean, now Tornado's online. Mashuk is not safe whatsoever. The Tornado gonna be doing more than enough to take it out. But knowing that, right? Knowing that Bog could just throw the Tornado onto the Nidrasil. No, it's probably not enough to take it down from where this current HP pool is at. So let's see what Vziman decided to do.
He will attempt the double tsunami freeze here. So Alver will be swapping out immediately to eat the second tsunami here from the Wimplump. The Nidrasil will also be leaving to this. The Kinu will be coming in, and this is what I was concerned about. Was I mean, Vziman was definitely trying. Oh, he throws a tornado. He psychs them out, but Volaran has special defensive raised. So unfortunately, that fake out did not go as well as hoped. Unfortunately.
Yeah, Bog just playing super standard. He's saying, hey, Tornado gets the kill on Mashuk, so I'm gonna click Tornado on the Mashuk. But Alver gonna be reading that, gonna be swapping in Vola and guaranteeing the Kinu buff onto Vola. So that's +2 special defense. So only did about you know, brought it down to 78. So not a whole lot of damage for that amount of stamina. And now the pressure is back on Bog's side. So, you know, Volarin, that is an anaerobic. So one Noxious Bomb onto Wimplump will be doing a good amount of damage, including those 2 ticks of poison. Surely takes it down. Anything in the back line also gets a good hit from that Noxious Bomb. So let's see what these players decided to do.
Ooh, Hyperkinetic Strike was used as well, but Hypnosis is going to be thrown out before the Volarin is able to do anything. The speed buff for future use will be scary though. Cold Breeze is thrown out of the Kinu, but that is all that will be done in that round. And Vziman has to pick up the pace here in terms of damage, because right now Alver has still 5 healthy Tems. Obviously, Alver could perhaps... there's still a big risk, right? The Gaealis is still in the back. So if Alver's not careful, he could get a free Gaealis swap in, and that'll be a big disaster, because then he'll have to be scrambling to defend against that. But still, you have to be hyper aware that at any moment a Gaealis can swap in, and suddenly you're in a position where you're about to face check another Crystal Bite.
Yeah, fortunately for Alver, he does get that Mastion to try to mitigate that crystal damage, so not completely out of answers for that Gaealis. But you know, maybe Alver's thinking, maybe wake up his own Volarin. You do got +2 special defense, so the Kinu goes first. Maybe a small little beta burst to wake up the bird. That's of course if the Wimplump wants to stay in though, because you could almost get the job done if you do a beta burst onto Wimplump and then the poison tick. Maybe that results in the same thing.
That most likely will actually. The Grandpa, all it can really do at this point is Hyperkinetic Strike, and the Kino will be fine with that. I don't think it will die from a single hypo, so a beta burst. The question is if Alver's willing to trade a lot of Kino HP for a Wimplump. It's nice, another Temp down, but again, just if it's in Sharp Stab's range, I would be concerned. With its well-being at that point. So the Gaealis will come back out, as I mentioned. Grandpa will be leaving. Hypnosis is thrown out, but most likely in the Grandpa spot. So eaten by Gaealis. Very well done there from the side of Vziman. Cold Breeze will be thrown out. The Kini will be frozen in place. And this Volarin will be left to fight on its own devices. But this Wimplump is definitely not here to back up the Gaealis, that's for sure. 80% will kill in a single Noxious Bomb.
Yeah, very true. And now Alver's faced with the decision is, where is this +2 attack Crystal Bite going into? I mean, the obvious answer would probably be into the Volarin. It's just +1 defense before it gets a little bit more out of hand with later Kinu buffs. Might as well try to deal with it. You could get with the Kinu, but the Kinu is a bit too obvious of a swap. But taking a look at the back line, maybe just doing solid damage to things like a Nidrasil if it comes in. So a couple lines of play for these players. You know, it's too toxic in the backs. I wouldn't be opposed to something like a Tornado onto maybe the Kinu slot, just in case it does swap out. Let's see what Bog decided to do.
Mashuk swap in here for the side of Alver, and Volarin will be swapped out as well for the Mastion, predicting that the Volarin will be taking that hit. I mean, puts the 2 highest defense Tems on the field. This Gaealis is facing a rock wall here. Crystal Bite will be eaten by Mastion with ease, not even phased. Ukama's gonna come out here just to scare the Mastion away again, but the forcing the Crystal Bite out already is quite unfortunate.
I think that was a really good read for Bog there, knowing that he most likely wanted to bring out the Mastion, of course, to try to answer Emerald or Gaealis here. He brought out the Ukama, so a simple aquatic whirlwind water cannon at this HP should be enough to take down Sharknado here.
Yeah, exactly. This Mastion will have to leave. The pressure from Ukama existing is enough to scare it away here. My question is really what Gaialis will do in this scenario, what kind of Tem it can really punish, because Alver's Tems are quite healthy at the moment, and there's not another another Tem Ukama will do a lot of damage to.
Yeah, no other Tem in the back line. Ukama does actually half effective damage on everything in the current back line so far. So it will be the Nidrasil. Let's see if it had a Blizzard or something, maybe a little bit better. So Sharp Stab is going to be deployed for Gyalis. And okay, goes with a solid Tsunami there.
Yeah, Tsunami as well, just making the most out of it, but Urushiol will put the Ukama in the grave, and that scares me. Bastion is now in open season, surely, as Gaialis no longer has that water support in with him one in time.
Yeah, very well said, Blue. I think that was a huge play for Alver there, taking care of one of the only water Tems on Vziman's side. So Mastion a little bit more safe here. Of course, he still has the Wimplump.
Grandpa comes out, so it will scare these toxic Tems away. The question will be if Gaialis will be able to recover from this. I mean, there's a lot. There's still enough for one more attack on Gaialis, but not sure it's enough. Alver might lose 2 Tems here if he decides, chooses poorly. But still, Vziman has a lot of ground to cover, as Wimplump is quite low as well in the back.
So Grandpa is on the board. He doesn't got any buffs here, but I still believe he has a Hyperconnect Strike available, because I think we saw it previous turn, so it might have it available. So both of these toxic Tems not feeling too safe. Let's see what Alver decides to do about it. Okay, bring out the anaerobic bird. So he's banking on him attacking the Mashuk spot. Let's see if he was right. Oh, well predicted. So good read coming out from Alver there.
Yeah, absolutely. Crystal Bite will shut down the Nidrasil. No, not quite. The Rock Shield keeping this in formation, and this is another nail in the eventual coffin if Vziman is not careful. Bark Shield raised means that Gaialis' defense, or rather his heat up, is no longer viable, or at least it will not do as much as he would hope. I mean, Nidrasil will go down for sure, but this Volrend is getting stronger and stronger. I mean, we usually talk about to deal with a Volrend anaerobic, you just deal attack damage, but how do you do that when it has a maximum defense?
Exactly. But when you know, hindsight always 2020. I always said, I think the play was to switch those attacks around. So Hyperconnect Strike on the Nidrasil, knowing that the Nidrasil had Rock Shield. If you were paying attention, it had Rock Shield. So maybe Crystal Bite onto the Mashuk and then Hypo. But you know, hindsight always 2020. He did what he could.
Right. Absolutely, Hypnosis will be thrown out. All Vziman wants to do is buy time, and time he shall attempt to buy, but I think they're sold out. Poison will be placed on both these Tems, so toxic damage slowly taking them away.
Yeah, now we're still with this full squad still remaining. A couple of them still relatively healthy, still with the green health. Versus Vziman's last 3 remaining Tems, one of them under 20%. And like you said, I mean, the Volt is sleeping now, but once he wakes up, he will be on a tear. Nothing too much is going to be taking him down. +3 defense, +3 special defense. And climbing with the anaerobic trait.
They're just still low, so Sharp Stabs will kill it. But this is really rough to be Gaialis. Like, I wish Gaialis had more stamina. Unfortunately, that would obviously make him broken, so that is not the case. Bastion will come back out here just to force the Gaialis out, surely. Nidrasil will also leave, so not a single victim will come out from this Gaialis attack. Windburst will be thrown out. Reads the Mashuk correctly, but the Mashuk will not go down. The coat saves it, and Gaialis had to rest.
Yeah, it looks like he just want to do that final remaining damage onto the Nidrasil. So just a simple Wind Burst, but now Hyperkinetic Strike is online. You definitely don't need it against the Machoke. You should be naturally faster, but Mastion's on the board, so Bog could get a solid Wind Burst plus a Hido Uchi onto Alver's Mastion. That could be a solid line of play. I'll be honest though, I haven't been paying attention if it has Fire Chip. If it does have Fire Chip, obviously you know it doesn't have that E-Drink. If it doesn't, you know, if we haven't been seeing it, then it might actually have that E-Drink. We will find out though. But maybe instead of double onto Hyperkinetic Strike plus a Sharp Stab might actually be enough. I know it's resistant on the Mastion. Ooh, but okay, Alver trying to keep the Mastion protected. Get the Kinu buff there.
Hyperkinetic Strike connects with the Mastion, but it's not enough. A Crystal Bite trying to kill it off, but no, the special defense raised will be enough. Sorry. The defense raise will be enough, and 2 kills here for the Mastion. The poison, the toxic tick will take away the
as you said, Blue, putting that nail in the coffin. That Meteor Swarm massive, so Bog not thinking of that Kinu swap in. Of course, without the Kinu, Mastion would have surely dropped dead, but with the Kinu buff, it's still kicking, it's still here. So I think Vziman definitely understanding that situation. Gonna be we are headed into game 4. We never say it before. It's usually just game 3. But here we are, guys. It is a best of 5 series for this team competition. This is game 4. Crystal Vanguard sending out, perhaps some may say, their MVP, Mr. Tsubaki-chan, a super highly regarded player. Winningest, one of the most winningest players in all of Temtem history, versus Sekhmet. I've heard good things about Sekhmet. I haven't seen him too much in play, so let's see if he's going to be able to take down Tsubaki-chan here.
Oh, this is going to be an interesting matchup. I mean, Tsubaki-chan, a favorite to seal the deal, perhaps, for his team. Or no, seal the deal for his team. But Sekhmet, I don't know much about Sekhmet, but you know, I'm not one for putting people out for the count. And definitely you have to watch out for those you are not familiar with, you know, like I feel like there's a weird stigma to people who you don't know. I mean, honestly, I feel like if you don't know them, you have to be more concerned about them rather than the opposite. So looking forward to seeing what Sekhmet can do here against Tsubaki.
Yeah, I mean, I've definitely seen him around. They've been in chat here and there, but I can't say I've ever seen him, you know, watch them in a competitive setting. So it's going to be good to see Tsubaki-chan starting with another really classic opening. And Sekhmet trying to answer back with a good old Mastion Volderen. Not as much comment, but still applies a lot of pressure. But you know, something like perfect jab followed by future uppercuts is going to get the better of Mastion. So we will see how it plays out.
The Machoke Volderen opening for Tsubaki-chan. I mean, I'm not surprised here. This is standard. Tsubaki has not really changed his outlook in this combination quite a bit. Yeah, this is open and he refuses to pick it up. Is the bigger tell here of how much he loves this kind of opening.
Yeah, and if you notice, Blue, he's kind of bringing back what he had a couple months ago with the triple mental. Remember when he brought Psychic Collaboration out to play? He's kind of working with a little bit of that so far, so I'm curious to see if he is going to indeed pick up that Adoraboros, to see if we see some flashy stuff with this Psychic Collaboration. I mean, it does a good amount to the remaining Tems that Sekhmet has, so not necessarily the worst idea.
Yeah. So the Whipple we picked up along with the Kinu The biggest surprise is again the lack of Gaialis here. I mean, Kinu doesn't necessarily have to pair with Gaialis, but you usually think of one or the other. But might just be a Grandpa and Adoroboros. But I mean, Psychic Collaborator doesn't work very well unless you're pairing it with more than just one mental time, unfortunately.
Yeah, and he only has that Kinu to pair with. I wouldn't be surprised. I think with the Kinu already picked up, I think Gialis, I'm sure Tsubaki will be able to maneuver perfectly, get those Kinu buffs onto Gialis, find a good opportunity to heat up. So we will see. I think it's a solid lineup. Now the question is, do you get Adoraboros or try to do some flashy stuff, or do you keep it safe? You get your turbos going on Grandpa, you get a Hypnosis, you get a crazy Hyperkinetic Strike. I think playing it safe is going Grandpa. If you want to try to be flashy or, try to catch your opponent off guard, maybe Adoraboros is fine as well.
Yeah.
Ooh, there we go. Tsubaki-chan going with the Adoraboros.
This is he puts the Grandpa out. This is surprising from Tsubaki-chan. I mean, he really enjoys the Grandpa, but decides against.
And I think it's fine. I think it's fine because the majority of Tems, actually Adoraboros does effective damage into. So let's take a look. We'll take a look. So I believe it was a Wimplump. It potentially have things like a Toxic Ink, the Mushuk, the Beta Burst, Psychic Collaboration, and does good damage too. So let's see how Tsubaki-chan's gonna be able to utilize it. But guys, here we are, Tsubaki-chan, as I keep saying it, representing Crystal Vanguard. And Sekhmet, I've heard things, apparently the Dark Horse, perhaps one of the better players in all of Ronin. So Ronin Chad bringing out the big guns to play. So let's see if he's gonna keep up to those stories here.
Yeah, I mean, if anybody's gonna draw blood on Tsubaki-chan, it will be Sekhmet in that case. And of course, we all know Tsubaki-chan is not invincible. He has lost previously to much stronger players or just simply very aggressive players. So if you want to play ball, that is the court. Rawrzyy will land nothing.
And already a solid read coming out from Sekhmet, switching out the Mastion, absorbing that Urusol really well. Eats up the Feather Gatling, so not necessarily the best. It was just a double up onto Mastion there. And Mushuk actually taking a lot more damage than I thought with that parrier, right? It was almost a solid 35%, or over that. That might just be like a max attack Volarin as well. Usually with the parrier, it doesn't do that much.
Yeah.
So here we are. We're finding ourselves in another mirror match here. So it is turn 2. Maybe these players want to go with the classic turbo choreography and then hyperkinetic into each other's Mushuk. Is gonna depend who's faster, who has the speed arrow. Okay, Sekhmet has the speed arrow. This is gonna be pretty cool to see what these players want to do. Because you can play a little risky. You could try to get the speed advantage early. You could play it safe, switch in the Kinu for the Mushuk maybe. But let's see. So Sekhmet switching out Vola, so maybe no turbo coming out for him.
Moment. Ooh, speed up. Bolstering here. Hyperkinetic Strike will be bolstered. Straight to the Mushuk. We'll see if that shuts it down. No, it will survive. But, well, that's a perfect jab at least, so it gets its money's worth, but this Mushuk is not long for this world.
Yeah, any attack, especially with the +2 speed, now that Tsubaki-chan has, it should be easily enough to take out the Mushuk. But knowing that, of course, easy swap out could mitigate that from, could mitigate the Mushuk from going down already. Now I do think that perfect jab was really good onto Voliran. I don't know though if Amacion Embers will be enough to take down Voliran outright. It might be close. We saw it there previously. Maybe the Burns gets the job done, but the minus defense will come into play.
Yeah.
Now I'm saying some people are thinking a cage turn, just sacrifice Checkmate's Mashuk to guarantee perhaps a kill onto Voliran. Maybe? That would be a little crazy, but so crazy it just might work, right? We'll see though. Oh, and Checkmate does decide to go with the cage, pull the trigger.
Rawrzyy connects, so 4 takes a poison. The cage shuts down any escape, but that goes for the other side as well. Meteor War punishes the Voliran for being in his perfect jab, already doing that minus defense, already showing the damage output there.
Yeah, Mashuk gonna be, you know, didn't get an attack off, just going with the cage and didn't get an attack, so gonna be surviving. Maybe Checkmate thought Mashuk was gonna be going down there so that he could bring in another Temtem. You know, perhaps that Wimplump in the back to try to, actually no, against Avola. We will see. I would say, you know, maybe the Mashuk could get a final attack off if it had some speed. But Tsubaki-chan's +2, so even the Mashuk on Tsubaki-chan could do something like a perfect jab uppercut onto Mashuk. And it should be enough. It's just chilling around 6.2%.
The next strike will connect, but over just the Voliran wants to punish the Amacion, guarantees that kill as well. Uppercut will drop it to lethal range. We'll see if Sekhmet can at least do a bit of damage here, and it does. But the 1-for-1 trade is good. The question is if the Voliran for Master was good, and you have to account for how much HP is Mashuk also tanked. That's a bit rough.
Yeah, so not worried about the Mashuk whatsoever. It wasn't going to be doing enough damage onto Tsubaki's Mashuk, so just letting it be. Just letting it be, not worried about it too much. A simple, any simple attack will take it down later down the road. So let's see, so bringing out Key Alice out to play, so we might be getting a good old heat up turn. Maybe Mashuk becoming a Kinu very shortly.
Yeah, Voliran comes out, the Gaialis comes in to heat up, and there's really not a good punish here for Sekhmet at the moment. The Voliran Feather Gatling into the perfect jab, or rather perfect jab into Feather Gatling might be solid, but at the moment, gonna have to do more than that.
You know, before going out, Mashuk can get a solid turbo choreography onto the Voliran. That might not be the worst line to play. You know, might as well go out on a final hoorah, increase some speed on that Voliran. Voliran not going to be doing a whole lot. You know, you got the Feather Gatlings onto Adoraboros.
Yeah. Ooh. Right now, the Mashuk. Tsubaki-chan is taking time as usual. But I am really concerned that this Adoraboros does not seem like it's gonna be effective if Kinu goes down. But then once this Mashuk goes down, what do you really swap out? It will be interesting how Tsubaki decides to play this. Sekhmet is definitely giving him a run for this money.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, Tsubaki is tempted to keep Mashuk in here, right? Just get a final, perhaps like an uppercut or something, just to guarantee the kill on Mashuk. But he almost kind of wants to bring in the Kinu as well to start getting these protector buffs to see what indeed he did do. So does go with the uppercut, the +2 speed coming in clutch, guaranteeing the kill onto Mashuk.
Yep. So to swap out here. Defense raised again. This Valoran gonna try and do as much, but the heat up again is a bit free. And this late into the game, you really run out of options to really eat the hits, right? And now you're stuck with Valoran, Whipple, and Kinu to somehow deal with the Gaialis.
You know, now that you mention it, it does seem rather free to just heat up one more time. That would be huge for Tsubaki-chan. A bit unnecessary, might not need it. You know, you could just go with a good old Crystal Bite into either slot here. Gonna be doing a lot of damage. Get the one shot on Kinu if it stays in. Get a good damage onto Wimplump if it swaps. Blue, you think we get the double heat up?
I would love to see it, but again, Tsubaki-chan might just want to secure the win. Honestly, again, one game up, another win is all it takes. So maybe being a bit greedy might be too ambitious.
Yeah, definitely. I do agree with that. I think just a solid Crystal Bite, just get huge damage coming out of Tsubaki's corner. So we'll retreat the Mashuk most likely for that Kinu as we mentioned before. So get that protector buff, start protecting up that Gialis. And Crystal Bite, okay, onto Kinu. So good night Kinu. It was either Kinu or the Wimplump taking huge damage.
Yeah, Kinu has to bite the bullet, but Wimplump comes out. And now 2 versus 4. And I feel like revitalizers are coming, and the problem is there is no defense reduction. There's not enough damage here, I feel. We'll have to see.
Yeah, as you said, Blue, the final 2 Temtems remaining for Sekhmet. This is the last hope for Ronin, Chad. If he's not able to turn things around, they will be going down. Gonna be finding themselves in that 3rd place match. And you know, this is the first time Wimplump hits the board, so he doesn't necessarily have anything online except for perhaps, you know, the usual Cold Breeze or Ice Shuriken if they're running it. And Gialis is not too threatened here because of that, right? The Volder, I mean, has a hyperkinetic strike, but not going to be doing a lot, especially when Kinu gets a Revitalize off. And if Volder wants to go with like a Noxious Bomb onto Kinu, you're just leaving the Gialis a little bit more open. Oh, I hope they didn't run out of time. I see the 000. Hope it's a bit of a visual bug as usual.
This is quite interesting. Cold Breeze is, yes, thrown out here. Oh, the Kinu wants to maybe freeze before Revitalize happens, but Hypnosis comes out way too quickly here. Valoran will Noxious Bomb. Actually, yes, so the objective is to kill Kinu ASAP, but that just leaves Gaialis to get some hits off for rest here, and it will rest.
Yeah, so luckily the Hypnosis does go on to Wimplump there. So you're not going to be able to Cold Breeze it this turn as you are put to sleep. So I guess all the attention is now redirected onto the Volder for the time being. And actually, I mean, you could go into the Wimplump. Reason being, if it got off an attack, it was the first one to attack this turn, right? The Cold Breeze was the first one. So even its most standard attack will go before the Gialis, so you know it would skip its turn. It would skip its turn if you want to go into Wimplump regardless. So perhaps here is not a bad time to get the good old Revitalize in. So let's see, so Wimplump, and now with everything online, so usually, you know, Tsunami, Tornado, Sharp Rain, is that enough? I mean, one protector buff, yeah, there's not too much Sekhmet can do here. The Gialis might be running away with this game, even if it wanted to stay on the board. I mean, you could switch out, let it recover stamina in the back line. Just let Sekhmet waste some stamina on these other Temtems and then bring out Gialis, and I think Gialis will get the job done against both of these Volderen and the Wimplump.
Yeah, the Kidu half HP. This the Wimplump has to put out the damage here, but there's still so many threats. I mean, the good news is that the other two threats are toxic, so if he gets past this barricade of Gialis Kidu, it's much easier slope to slide down into. And Gialis actually getting swapped out here.
Yeah, I think he's thinking just that, just kind of retreat it for now, just let it store up on some stamina again, and then when it hits the board, you know, you could probably get another protector buff, and that's going to be way too problematic for Sekhmet to take down. So let's see what he, you know, is going to be deciding to do, just getting off a good old wind synergized Tsunami there.
Ooh, gets it off well. The Mashuk survives, so the swap out to toxic Tems just to exhaust all the resources remaining on these wind Tems, and to also toss in poison damage on this Wimplump. It will be massive.
Yeah, I mean, if he doesn't take care of Mashuk, it could be the Ursul. If he leaves it in, it could be a toxic ink into Wimplump too. I mean, Tornado most likely coming out. Sorry, it's Cold Breeze, a speedy Wimplump.
Ooh. The toxic ticks will occur. The whip. I mean, the Eudoroboros is frozen, so that's a turn. But the Mashuk low as well.
Oh, Mashuk with that +2 speed, gonna be getting the better of the Wimplump there. Is Tsunami even enough to get the Mashuk? I thought he was gonna get the freeze first, or I think Sekhmet thought he could get the freeze first. But yeah, this is gonna be so rough. It's gonna be the Volderen all alone after overexerting versus the Gialis that's gonna be coming out this following turn. Actually, no, it didn't overexert, sorry. Almost.
Yeah.
Oh, the perfect jab. This speedy Mashuk doing a lot, and yeah, Haido Uchi taking them down. So Tsubaki-chan still on a tear, bringing Crystal Vanguard up another game. That's gonna these finals is gonna be happening right now, representing Crystal Vanguard, our #1 seed, sweeping through the semifinals, finding themselves here in the finals is gonna be none other than Golld, and then facing off against a Ronin A representative, FunkyHao.
Let's get this underway.
And yeah, guys, we'll push through final game. Let's get the hype going for the very last game of this Ganki Cup. It's been pretty cool to do. I see in the chat you're saying, will this go down again? I think the answer is absolutely. Great time, maybe a little different time. I mean, the time worked for some, not for others. So Golld did indeed is the only player I've seen this whole tournament having the Scunch here, so actually gonna be starting it, so kind of using Scunch like a Mashuk. Scunch does have that perfect jab, So we will see how he's going to be able to use it for this opening turn.
Ooh, FunkyHao opening unorthodox, opening with a Valoran, potentially anaerobic with a Rawrzyy. Slow down the opening, so essentially a control setup most likely for him. Does not have damage yet, but that is to be given. He does still have Valash or Gaialis in the back pocket. Surely will pick up one of those, or at least do something about the damage.
Yeah, to note, FunkyHao staying true to the theme. We got a Ganki in the house for FunkyHao, rocking the Vziman here. Let's see if he's gonna, there's no other way to do it here in the Ganki Cup. You gotta bring out the Vziman, and not actually. I mean, do what's best for the team. But Golld gonna start with quite the aggressive start here. And like you said, Blue, a little bit more unconventional, but Rawrzyy is always a solid Temtem to pick up. You don't want it to be banned right away.
I mean, I actually really don't mind this opening from Funky. This is a good way to be slightly outside the box and to slow down the enemy's pacing, right? Bastion and Scunch really like being at least some decent speed to outpace some of the more supporty Tems, right? Valorant. When he Feather Gatlings, at least you get that decent setup, but being slowed down immediately without any way to boost your speed is really devastating. And they pick up the Mashuk now, and obviously Turbo Choreograph will also be on the Grandpa, but still, there's not really a win pair unless you want to pick up Valorant and Grandpa here, which most likely will be the case, but still, the Rawrzyy is such a good pickup here for Funky. I actually really like this pickup. The question will be how he decides to up the rest of his team. The Vziman, of course, not a very effective choice at the moment, so he might go for the triple crystal, or picks up the Vziman anyway.
Hey,
so,
there we go. The Vziman getting picked up here for the finals of this Ganki Cup. So who's gonna be the last pick for Golld? I mean, Grandpa's solid, Valoran is solid. If it's an anaerobic, Grandpa a little bit worse, trying to face off against Valash and Vziman. So yeah, the anaerobic bird most likely gonna be the pick to try to deal with this Valash. So guys, we are here. We finally made it all the way to the finals. This is the very first game. Let's see who's gonna be starting off hot.
what concerns me the most is that there's no opportunity to turbo choreograph for Golld except for the Mashuk potentially, right? So this Rawrzyy is, if it gets its way where it just swaps in and out, you are gonna be sitting at -2, -3 speeds. And I mean, even if a Golder was here, it would outspeed you.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, Bastion not the fastest Temtem, but with a -1 speed, a 33% reduction, even slower now. So let's take a look. I mean, keeping things standard, a perfect jab embers onto FunkyHao's Valoran is most likely the best line to play so far for the opening turn. Flipping it around for Funky, we could just get a solid Feather Gatling into embers onto Scunch, but I don't think the Rawrzyy wants to stay here that much longer, but it does. So let's see what he does.
Ooh, Feather Gatling, just a little bit of harass. It's an aerobic Valoran as well. And if you look, there isn't really a special attacker to punish except for, I'll have to check eventually, but the Valoran is aerobic, and this is going to be interesting, but the defense down into embers is already showing that devastating damage straight into the Valoran.
Yeah, and as you mentioned, Blue, we caught a quick glimpse. The Feather Gatling actually increased speed, so FunkyHao rocking that aerobic Valoran, so that is your damage dealer. So Hyperkinetic Strike is online. Is it enough to take 56% out of Scunch? Maybe. Usually Volt is running a significant amount of speed. Or maybe a double up, right? Hyperkinetic Strike followed by the embers on Scunch. It always works that way, but you always have to sacrifice your bird to do so. So, Ruby, which is Bastion over here, might just go with the simple embers one more time. We saw how much damage it did, so it's gonna easily take it out of here if it does want to stay in. So maybe we get a swap on FunkyHao side, and then we get a swap on Golld side. So what do we got in the back line?
Yeah, right now the slowdown is pretty impactful, but goes straight into the Hyperkinetic Strike, goes YOLO. This Voliran does not care about its own well-being. Will punish the Mastion, lowers its HP for future use. Haito Uchi will shut down the Voliran for sure now. Trade this life for a lot of damage, but the question will be if that value will be visible down the line. Embers on top of the burn will do a decent chunk, but the Major Slash as well, there to trade.
Yeah, and I think that was a double up onto Voliran just in case it did switch out. So Hideuchi doing effective damage to those crystals. Well, not to Gialis, but still strong damage onto it. So yeah, just in case the bird did want to swap out, it was gonna eat a Hideuchi and a Major Slash. So keeping the burden, you know, it was already low HP, so might as well go down. And Major Slash will be going into raise a little bit over that 25% mark. And now comes the Gazuma, guys. It wouldn't be the Ganki Cup without one of these, so let's see how much work it's gonna do. Currently, as it stands, not a whole lot. Not against Skunch and Mastion at least.
Yeah, we'll have...
You know what could be somewhat solid? A good old Sparks into the Raze spot. Either Raze gets it or something like Flash if it switches in. You know, if it's a bold switch in.
I would be very cheeky in front of a Mastion. I mean, we see what Mastion can...
but it left.
Oh yeah, Mastion is left. Swapping in for the Mashuk to eat any electric attacks here, but Tesla Person will be going on the Skunch, and this is my biggest fear for Golld here. His Tems are slowing down. They're slowing down as much as he is reducing the defenses, and Roar to reduce their attack. This is kind of horrid. If you look at Golld's team, there's 4 attackers minimum on his team right now.
Yeah, so the Roar was bound to get, everything on Golld's team is an attack base. There's no special attack. The Skunch, the Mastion, Mashuk, Surnif, and Voliran all attack base. So Roar was gonna hit anything, and it connected with some solid Temtem. Mashuk with the minus attack. And most people aren't building, you know, attack based Mashuk, so already not the most offensive pressure. Fortunately though for Golld, he did manage to get off a perfect jab, and going off with another perfect jab onto the Raze. Is this 1-2 combo gonna be enough? Ooh, Blue, I think maybe you're on a bit more delay than I am, right?
Yeah, that's quite big. Windblade will do some decent damage on the Mashuk, but the Ninjutsu, regardless of the speed downs, was able to get there in time.
Yeah, that was huge, the double, and actually, I'm quite impressed. Ninja Jutsu, oh, but -2 speed. Okay, Ninja, that's actually really good for Golld there. The maps had to work out perfectly. Ninja Jutsu's 4 prio, Mashuk outsped Skunch Ninja Jutsu. Of course, it was because that -2 speed reduction. So really good understanding of speed there for the side of Golld and Crystal Vanguard.
Swap in, the Voliran comes in. Perfect jab to reduce the defensive Gialis. We'll see how this works, but heat up will be uncontested. The defense down though will be danger in the future, but the Voliran is about to face check an electric storm, and that's a decent amount of damage. Fortunately, Gazuma isn't built for special attack, it seems. Must be a support.
Yeah, I mean, the Voliran has to start setting up though, so yeah, I mean, doing a good damage, about 40%. Still a good chunk of that Voliran's life, and you want to take it down before it starts setting up, so actually leaving it perfectly in the range for something like a Crystal Bite going into that slot. Does Golld have anything perhaps to eat it? I guess Mastion would be the best, but it still does a handful of damage on the Mastion regardless.
Yeah. Ooh, hyperkinetic strike. Just trying to punish the Gaialis, but Gaialis will punish you instead. Mashuk will live, but the Windblade will secure the deal for that kill.
Yeah, not too bad. You usually don't see Windblade Gazuma here, but Windblade, coming in pretty clutch there. Windblade getting off 2 Windblades and doing perfectly enough damage to take down the Mashuk. And most players can't really play around it. You never expect the Windblade, or you're never too scared of the Windblade. The Windblade doing so little damage, but a kill's a kill, guaranteeing it. So Mashuk will be the first Temtem down on the side of Golld.
Ooh.
FunkyHao has 3 healthy Temtems remaining, so Feather Galleon is going to connect on Gyalis. Water Current Lily being 3 prio. There's no Kinu buffs. I think this might be enough to do the job. And yes, it is. Gyalis will be going down. How much is the Tesla Prison going to do? It hasn't still set up anything. Okay.
I mean, not as bad as I would have expected, at least there.
Yeah, I mean, it hasn't started setting up whatsoever. I didn't want to Noxious Bomb because I wanted to do that damage onto Gyalis to guarantee the kill with Water Current Lily. So it is still the correct line of play. But to mitigate all that damage coming in, you just got to do some toxic attacks. But now it's tricky. Now Valash is out. At least it's not a madness buff Valash though, so that's already not a threat so far. But the question is, does FunkyHao madness buff though?
Madness buff applied there. He does not care about the damage that he's committed. But Electric Storm again on the Volarend. We'll see if that kills it, and it will. Surdif will be okay. But the Scavenger buff heal is effective. The Gazuma sacrificing an overexertion, but the Front Whip! It hits so hard! The Surdif is so powerful.
Saved by the hair of his chin. But no, that Scavenger buff actually saving the Valash there. So if Volarend wouldn't have gone down there, if it was just buffed up, +1 special defense or anything, Valash would have been dead there. But still, there might not be too many things that that FunkyHao can do. Crystal Spike has to kill, but no, Water Cuddling Liddy being that 3 prio move, gonna be outspeeding Gazuma.
Unfortunate there.
And Surnif a really good answer to the Valashes, right? People always with the madness buff, but Water Current Lily, Fawn Whip, that's all physical damage, and it's huge physical damage, so it does an immense amount of damage onto Valash. So pretty good stuff coming out from Golld. So good that he's gonna be Alola. We saw Alola take down Ali earlier in the semifinals to see if they're able to bring things back around for Ronin A. We are getting into game number 2 of this finals matchup.
Ooh. See, Alola once again. And, of course, Kanzaki. It is going to be interesting to see how this goes. Kanzaki, of course, I believe this will be his redemption. If they are able, if he manages to win this, of course, it'll be a rough way back for Ronin, as Tsubaki-chan is yet to go. So, again, a lot of very good players in Crystal Vanguard.
Yeah, perhaps a lot of big titans of Temtem in Crystal Vanguard. I mean, they put together the team knowing that, so of course, proving that dominance so far. They're finding themselves up 1 game in the finals so far. So it looks like the first ban was gonna be the race. So Kanzaki with those turbo with the turbo focus team, not trying to deal with the race here, so I definitely agree with that ban. And Lola, I guess with the two water types, not really trying to deal with the Volderen himself.
Yeah, I mean, Kama gonna set up for most of the counters, and just, again, so many good players here. I mean, T-Rexes hunt in packs, so it is not a unusual sight to see. But we might see Alola. No, he goes Ukama Gaialis.
Interesting, pretty unconventional if I do say so myself. We don't usually see this too much, but there's no Kinu to pair these up with, so not the worst start, I guess.
The reason why this isn't usually the strategy, Ukama plus Gaialis, is because Ukama wants a double up in the first round and a finisher in the second. Unfortunately, Gaialis takes a turn, so Ukama by itself doesn't really do all that good damage, and there's no synergy bonus, so Water Cannon does not get the poison takes. There's just a lot of missing features on Ukama when you're paired with someone like a Gaialis. And like on paper, this is okay, but obviously not optimal.
Yeah, so Alola used Mix to perfection, surviving at like 1% health the previous game in the semifinals. So let's see if Alola is going to be using Mix one more time. I'm sure he will. So, you know, facing off against the Mix, possibly trying to get some more crystal pressure.
Picked up here along with most likely the Tuvon. I mean, the Grandpa would be a good addition here, but actually the Tuvon would be better in retrospect because of these Crystal Tems. The Grandpa would be solid. Hypnosis and otherwise, maybe Mix is mental, so Hypnosis doesn't really work. So yeah, Tuvon will be picked up by Kanzaki, and the Volderen is the last Tem for Alola here. And Alola's Volderen is aerobic, I believe. So double sweepers here for Alola.
Yeah, and it is going to be rough for Kanzaki. I mean, the Mix is a good Temtem if you're able to 1-2 kill it. But if you're not able to, Kanzaki currently has no AoE attacks on his squad. So Mix could be running away with the game in that sense. Of course, he has to set up a pretty big tank, so if that Volderen is an anaerobic Volderen, maybe it gets the job done, but you know, to counter that, Kanzaki has a lot of physical damage to Tuvon, the Gaialis, the Rawrzyy, so Volderen not necessarily going to be the biggest tank, so those factors will be coming out to play here in game 2, so already off to the races. These players click their buttons quite fast, so Beta Burst onto Ukama.
Water Cannon straight to the Gaialis on the opposite side, of the heat ups of course will come out. You see them sharpening their fangs, or rather their claws here, and now we're ready to rumble.
Yeah, so I do believe Alola's went first, so Kanzaki has a slower Gaialis currently. That could be pretty vital though. I mean, one of them has protector buff, so gonna be slightly more protected from that crystal bite damage. So maybe speed doesn't necessarily matter too much here. I think we might get a crystal bite into each opponent's Gaialis here. I don't see why that would be wrong.
Well, bear in mind, Kanzaki is facing down an Ukama Gaialis, and yes, the first turn won't be as effective for the Ukama. The second turn is Aquatic Roll into Crystal Bite. Will you really risk losing so much HP in your Gaialis to trade with the opposing Gaialis? The damage difference, I think, will be a bit too major for Kanzaki to expend, especially since if you look at his team, Gaialis is the breadwinner here. The Tuvon is nice, but the enemy has a Mix, and if that Mix comes online, Tuvon can't eliminate it. The Gaialis will have to be the shotgun that just blows the door open so the Mix can't escape.
Yeah, very true. We just talked about speed too, so I think Kanzaki, even though it has the protector buff, it's a little bit less, you know, it's less advantageous here in this situation. So maybe it's going to be Kanzaki going to be pulling the trigger in terms of retreating. Because I think Alola has the upper hand here in the situation with that 3 prio aquatic Rowan and with the slightly faster Gialis as well. You know, Kanzaki does got Kinu, he does got Revitalized, bring it back to 100%, so could survive from that alone, but it might be close.
You can swap out Gialis for the Machoke as well to eat all of that damage. Like, the Machoke will not be happy with it, but it'll certainly survive. But Alola plays defensively, actually swapped out Ukama for Pig Epic to set up for a second turn here for Gialis, and Hypnosis will be thrown out here. If that goes on the Pig, that will be a disaster. It actually goes on the opposing Gialis just so it doesn't have an action, and in fact, its action is skipped, so the bite connects, but on the Pig Epic, it almost kills it, but it lives, and it snares the Gialis' item.
So beautiful play coming out from Alola, really good read, knowing that Kinu's the fastest Temtem on the current board, so Hypnosis most likely what's going to be deployed on that Kinu, and then leaving the Ukama a bit vulnerable, so really well read for Alola there, eating up that Crystal Bite, almost going completely down, so maybe a little bit less HP TVs than we're used to seeing on most pigs.
Yep. But bear in mind, Kanzaki can't afford to sharp stabs, because if Alola responds retaliates to his Gialis, his Gialis just dies. So you can't really sharp stabs, and you have to be aware of Tornado, these kind of things. This Pig Epic can still punish. And Alola, I'm not saying heat up again, but
heat up again. I mean, with Kanzaki feeling the pressure there, I mean, not the most. I mean, a Crystal Bite could be doing a good amount, but yeah, Kanzaki was feeling the pressure, so we'll be retreating in for Rawrzyy, so down, dropping the speed.
Speed down is very important, especially in a Gialis matchup. Beta Burst will be thrown in as well to shut down the Pig Epic, does not let it even move, does not get a single chance. Was probably attempting a Bamboozle, but did not get that through. Crystal Bite will come out and will shut down the Kinu. A Sharp Stab would have been enough, but wanted to secure the kill. Rock Shield maybe would have saved it from Sharp Stabs, but I would say Stamina well spent there, shutting down the Kinu.
Yeah, so 2 main supports already eliminated from this game in turn 4, so I think that was a really good play from Kanzaki, dealing with the Pig before any Bamboozle shenanigans down the road occurred, and Alola dealing with the Kinu before more Kinu buffs were to occur as well. So only 1 Kinu buff was on the Gialis, so Gialis for Gialis almost matched there. Just one Kinu protector buff onto the Gialis, so not the worst there.
The speed down is quite big actually. The lack of Crystal Bite is also another major factor, because now Kanzaki's Gialis has Crystal Bite, and Alola doesn't. And that is
as you said, Blue, I completely agree. The speed is huge. Remember, Alola had the faster Gialis in the previous turns, but not anymore. That minus speed 1 reduction is going to be surely assuring that Kanzaki's Gialis is now the faster Gialis. Let's see how it's going to play out, though.
A very smart play, potentially, could be to eat... I was going to say eat Crystal Bite with something else, but the Rawrzyy... this is a rock and a hard place for Alola, because he could just insta-give Rawrzyy right here with Ukama. But there could be a swap out for Kanzaki to save that Rawrzyy, so a double Gialis would be better. There's so many options here for Kanzaki, and if Alola chooses wrong with this opening, he will be struggling through the rest of this, as unfortunately Kanzaki read the previous attack very well. So it's going to be a bit unfortunate here if Alola plays too passively versus this. The Gialis will be swapped out, so vulnerable coming in. This was the potential for Crystal Bite to come in, but Rawrzyy gets swapped out as predicted, prevents the Ukama from insta-giving it. Machoke comes in instead to eat whatever attack he was supposed to. And Sharp Stabs actually comes in, tries to kill off the Ukama, thought that was going to be enough, trying to save stamina, but it was not enough. Tsunami connects, and the freeze is in place, but no follow-up, so that'll be all for that.
Yeah, no follow. I mean, now, since he didn't deploy the aquatic Rowan, it is online, but if you do aquatic Rowan, your Ukama will be going down. 1 Euro Soul, 1 I mean, anything coming out from Gallus surely is going to do the last 15%. So Kanzaki not really too worried about the Yukama, most likely going to be switching out. But the only things it can switch to is the Gallus and the mix. So maybe a good old Crystal Bite into the Yukama slot might not be the worst line to play here. It does come, you know, you do have to overexert to do so. So I know that's something Kanzaki is keeping in mind.
Yukama at 15% HP.
Oh.
Rough. Ooh. Water Cannon connects. Applies poison ticks, but Crystal Bite will go with the Volar and try to kill it off, but doesn't work again. This Gallus is just trying to set up so that this that the rest of his team will be able to clean up after him. Feather Gatling gonna secure the kill on Gallus, unfortunately. So Kanzaki playing it very smartly. He says, you know what? You can have your Tems, but they're not getting out of this unscathed. Uses all of the stamina on Gallus to do as much damage as possible. Now in a 3v3 situation.
Yeah, very true. It looks like, you know, on the surface a 1-for-1 trade, but it did come at the expense of like 80% damage, more than that of course, on the Volarant. I mean, you took down a big problematic Tem on the side of Kanzaki, which was that Gallus, so that is a victory in itself for Alola. But now he still has to get through almost full HP Mashuk and the other Tems in the back line that I can't remember right now. Oh, the Tuvine and the... It's not a Kinu. The Kinu died.
Tuvine comes out here along with the Mashuk. But the mix in here. But if it gets perfect jammed into Crystal Plume Gatling, it's dead. I have no doubt in my mind.
Yeah,
and I'm not sure how
yeah, 100% Blue. Really well said. I think we've seen that many times before. The Mashuk Tuvine opening was such a prominent opening a couple weeks ago, and yeah, whenever it started against Mix, a perfect jab. Crystal Plume Gatling did get the job done. If it switches into Gallus, it's gonna be doing a whole lot of damage to Gallus, so not necessarily much risk involved. So I think choosing to eat it with Gallus here. Let's see how it's gonna work out for Alola here.
Gallus swap it. This is a bit dangerous because I would think Gallus is a bigger damage dealer than everything else. And remember, Gallus already... You can't really say that this Gallus is in a very safe position. Perrier's gonna eat that Feather Gatling just fine on top of a coat. Mashuk very, very strong, but Crystal Plume Gatling drops it to 25% HP. And now I'm concerned. Is Gallus fast enough to outspeed Tuvine minus 1 stage? I don't think so.
Yeah, it's gonna be rough. I mean, Gallus is obviously naturally faster, but with that 33% reduction in speed, maybe... I mean, Tuvine is a bit of a slow poke. We would have to do the math, right?
We would.
I think staying at base speed, Tuvine goes faster. But if there's some speed investment in Gallus, in Tuvine, it's gonna depend on those. You know, that usually people are running good amount of speed on Gallus. As we saw, Alola was outspeeding Kanzaki, so I think even with that 33%, it still might be faster than Slowpoke Tuvine. We will see though.
It's a gamble. Alola will be dice. But Kanzaki doesn't even decide. He doesn't even let him roll the dice. He switches into a Rawrzyy to eat that, and it speeds down again. And this is so terrible. Now a -2 on the Gallus. Uppercut gonna secure the kill on Volarant as well. So Kanzaki already making this look very grim for the side of Alola. Rawrzyy shut down. Drops it to 50%, but Alert keeps it awake. Mix comes out, and it's only 2 Crystal Tems now.
Yeah, 2 Crystal Tems versus a Rawrzyy and a Mashuk, as well as a Tuvine in the back line, so not looking too good. It's going to take a massive effort to try to turn things around for Alola. I'm not too sure. I mean, Psy Surge, Energy Manipulation is effective damage on Mashuk. Idle Uchi was just deployed from the Gyalis, so has a Crystal Bite Sharp Stab remaining, but none of those do a good amount to Rawrzyy. And Rawrzy's been on the board for a couple turns. He's waiting, he's itching for that Fire Tornado. We'll see if he's gonna deploy it this turn. I think we will see it here though.
So Spikes comes out, trying to kill the Machoke as fast as possible, but its resistance is too strong. Another perfect jab connects on the mix, just setting it up for the future. Crystal Plume Gatling Sharp Stabs connects on the Machoke, secures a kill. Good. It keeps the 2-Vine on the field, but Fire Tornado is gonna kill Gyalis here for certain. There's nothing to save this giant crystal boy. Girl,
yeah,
most likely.
And that was such a good play for Kanzaki, ensuring before the Machoke died, get one perfect jab. So as we were just mentioning, a Crystal Plume Gatling will surely be enough. And actually, so well played for Kanzaki. The -2 speed coming in so clutch, letting Machoke go off before the sharp stab. This is exactly why Kanzaki banned the Rawrzyy. He doesn't like dealing with the Rawrzyy. So guys, GG, Kanzaki getting another victory for Crystal Vanguard here in our finals. This is game number 3. Alver, I don't know if he's still rank 1, but he was rank 1. So Alver coming representing Crystal Vanguard. And Little Asia, we all know him as Ricky Tan in the chat, representing Ronin A, guys. Ricky Tan is the last hope right now for the side of Ronin A. He has the whole Ronin club on his shoulders right now. No pressure. No pressure, but let's get the job done. If you guys are a Ronin fan, root for Ricky Tan here. If you guys are Enigma fans or Alver fans, then go ahead, root for Alver. This potentially could be the very last game here. It all depends on what's going to be thrown down here. So let's take a look what those first bans were.
Yeah, just a ban on the Mass Shield, preventing the Crystal Temps from having a bigger issue. The Volan removal. Alver does not want to deal with the tank, especially when most of his Tems are toxic. But, yeah, I mean, no pressure. You gotta beat the #1 ranked TMR in Temtem.
And starting off with a pretty good start. We used to seeing this start from people like Matt Gia, right? The Nidraso and Yukama start. And Little Asia, I mean, he's kind of forced to do it. The good old Kinu Gyalis. I mean, he could try the what you gonna do about it with the Valash, but I don't think that's gonna work out for him.
Yeah, it's extremely greedy. It only works if you are uncontested by it, or if an opposing player doesn't have a correct response to it, or if it reads you wrong. And a lot of the times, because it's been used so often by Shiroki, everyone just sort of does the typical burst them down. And unfortunately, it looks like Ricky Tang will be swapping into a Kinu opening instead. And unfortunately, Valash will be removed from this fight, most likely by Alver, removing another potential threat. Or removing a Rawrzyy would be very good here as well. Machoke is interesting ban, but removes a threat Gyalis could potentially face into.
You know, doesn't have the most wind pressure, doesn't have that grandpa, still has the Wimplump, but still Machoke with those Eurosouls still gets the better of Wimplump sometimes. So yeah, not too much, you know, significant wind pressure, so I'm not too against that Machoke ban. I'm sure Alver knows what he has in mind. But yeah, we saw how much work the Rawrzyy did last game, so letting the Rawrzyy through, let's see if it's going to make a difference. I think Alver doesn't mind because he has double water, right? The Yukama and the Wimplump. Rawrzyy not too much of a big threat for his team so far.
Ooh, Wimplump is the last pick. We'll see. This showdown, will it end here with Alver, or will it start the comeback here?
Yeah, really well said, Blue. Will it end here, or is Ronin A gonna try to come back on that reverse sweep? It all lies on Little Asia, aka Ricky Tan, guys. So keeping things standard, Little Asia doesn't have too much to do, you know, just standard heat up. Kinu most likely gonna be swapping out, but perhaps the Rawrzyy there. Oh, the Valash.
Oh wait, is this
oh no,
why
did I say Rawrzyy? Against the Yukama, I'm an idiot, guys, I apologize. So yeah, Valash So we get the water cannon synergize onto the Gialis.
Ukama Sutra. Anyways, the Toxic Ink does apply on the Valash, half damage of course with the Toxic Ink. And is this a delayed timing attack? What you gonna do about it? I mean, obviously it's not as strong, but it will kill Ukama. Like, I'm not, it's not an exaggeration to say that this Ukama's life is hanging in the balance of whether or not that Ricky is about to face check the Ukama out of this universe. And there's not enough damage here for Alver to really justify staying in, I don't think, because the Valash will just heal if they do get a kill. And Gialis and Valash, fast sweepers.
Yeah, we will see. So not trying to go with a Crystal Bite or anything. Instead goes with the Kinu. Maybe he is going with the Madness buff here.
No way! He's setting up for the long term here. But I'm not sure if he gets the time.
Oh, this is terrible.
Absolutely, and if Madness buff comes out, it kills the Valash! Oh my god, Ricky Tan has punished himself into a corner, and the Toxic Ink just says, no shenanigans here, get the Valash out of here. And Gialis is forced back out immediately.
Yeah, beautifully read for Alver. He didn't want to focus down Gialis, instead wanted to focus down Valash just in case it wanted to stay in, and it did stay in, and Madness buff. So already off to a huge start, taking down a heavy hitter with that Valash. So it tried to Madness buff, but not going to be enough. Those double ups, the Aquatic Whirlwind follow. You know, it didn't even need the Toxic Ink. You know, if Alver had the perfect play, it would be Toxic Ink into Kinu because the poison was enough. But either way, better safe than sorry. Take down that Valash. And now you just got a good old Kinu Gialis to try to deal with here.
It was more so a backup plan, I think, just in case the Kinu was going to be in that spot. But Crystal Bite going to come out. The Ninja Sill is too tanky. Its defense is really high, and you cannot underestimate that. The Water Cannon going to connect as well, and Revitalize can only do so much. It buys you time, but gotta be careful because time is a very wanted item, and it often sells out when you least expect it.
Yeah, so Alver with a little bit of that momentum so far has indeed that health advantage on Ricky Tan. But we just saw how much damage the Gialis did on Nidrasil. It doesn't have something like that again. Crystal Bite being as strong as attack on any Temtem so far. So not going to be able to take down the Nidrasil just yet. But can get solid damage onto any of these temps so far. Sharp Stab, Hideuchi should be a good amount. Hideuchi not too bad against something like Nidrasil if you're able to put it to sleep. I can't actually remember if we've seen an energy drink on Alver's side. So it's going to depend on that for sure.
Yeah, I'm not so sure as well. But judging from the fact that Crystal Bite only did 50%, 50.2% damage with Crystal Bite, that means that Hideuchi should leave the Ninja Sill at 2% HP. Unfortunately, that is how the math works, so the Ninja Sill will not die if a Hideuchi connects. I'm fairly confident in saying that. Yeah, I mean, it lives at more HP than I expected as well. So yeah, it's spending all of the stamina.
Yeah, definitely wasn't gonna kill, but at least made it skip a turn. And Kinu being the fastest Temtem on the board, gonna be sleeping the Ukama. Looks like Ukama didn't want to go with an Aquatic Whirlwind because it would have outsped, of course, but just with a good old Water Cannon to add the Poison Tick as well. But Ricky Tan coming back in this, trying to establish control. Now Nidrasil dangerously low, just one good Sharp Stab away from going down. So Alver could be looking at perhaps a solid Mashuk swap here.
Ooh, Windflip comes out, Sharp Stab to secure the kill, but that overexerts the Gialis, I believe. Yeah, it does.
You know, does overexert it, but guarantees that Revitalize there, so back up to about 80%. Pretty good stuff. So Ricky Tan prioritizing keeping that Gialis healthy. That is 2 Revitalizes so far onto itself, or sorry, onto the Gialis there, which is gonna be the one true carry. You know, the Valash is gone, so Gialis is the #1 Tem that's gonna get the job done against Alver's team. So really well done so far for Ricky Tan. But it did overexert, as you mentioned, Blue, so not going to be doing anything for this turn. And looking at the scoreboard, Blue, it looks like it's a pretty tough position. The only Temtem that does, you know, good amount of damage to Alver's team is Gialis. The other ones in the back line, not so much, so it's almost like the Gialis versus the whole squad, even though it doesn't seem like that currently.
Tornado, yeah, unfortunately so. Tornado connects on the rise. The speed down will be useful, especially on an opposing Volarant. The Noxious Bomb as well gonna drop. Is it on the Kinu? Ooh, I'm not sure if that was necessary on the Kinu, but it does do a lot of damage on the rise. And the rise, that may have been all the rise can do at this point. The Gialis gets his stamina back, but how much can it really do?
Maybe just setting up for another potential Kinu swap in, just to get another protector buff, making it +2/+2 defense and special defense. Wouldn't be too bad. Crystal Bite, does he have to overexert to do so? I think he does.
Yeah, he does, unfortunately. And Tsunami does not let the Rise get a chance to follow up. So Volarant will get another attack in, as Rise will fall. And the Cold Breeze is most likely coming to cover the Gialis. And this does not look very good. This looks bleak at the moment for Ricky Tan. That opening blunder with Flash being eliminated so quickly is definitely making this super difficult.
Yeah, definitely the Valash going down early lost them a huge amount of momentum going forward. It almost would have paid off, but Alver read it way too well. So now the final 3 Temtems remaining, the last hope for Ronin A and Ricky Tan's hope at turning things back around here in our finals are looking a bit grim, as you mentioned, Blue. But not completely out. You still got a solid Gialis. You still got... Oh no, you don't... I mean, you got a Hypnosis. You could put one of these guys to sleep.
Perhaps. That could work. But, yeah, I mean... It's just such a problem right now. Gialis is out of stamina, overexerted. You have one swap out, and that swap out is a Whip Lump, which could potentially buy you some time. Albeit a little bit of time, but it's just that Whip Lump in this scenario has to fight so many other things. Hypnosis to shut down the Volarant most likely, or actually the Whip Lump, just removing that. Unfortunately, that means Noxious Bomb will come through, and that will secure a kill on the Kinu.
Yeah, so securing the kill on the Kinu ensures there's no more Revitalized left in the game, so the Gialis is staying put, only around, I believe it was 40%. Yeah, okay, a little bit less, so 34% on the Gialis. So now everything rides on this Gialis and Wimplump as the final 2 Temtems remaining against Alver's almost full squad. It's gonna be rough. It's gonna be rough, you know, with the stamina in play. It might be a little bit too rough.
Yeah, unfortunately, Gialis can only do so much. He doesn't have a sweatband, and in a scenario like this, this is the moment where you wish you had a sweatband on your Gialis, right? Because then you'll be able to throw out all of these strong attacks, settle with a sharp stab, and then continue. But at this point in time, Alver can easily swap into Shook here and eat every ounce of damage, but decides not to. Lets the Volarant go down. The Volarant will survive the tornado. That's gotta hurt, because surely this Gialis is resting. The Noxious Bomb connects on the Wimplump as well, drops to half HP, and just raises the defense even more. And yeah, the Gyalis was resting, and that's gotta sting. The full rate at 1.4% HP, the Whiplup at full HP. This is not. There's very little possibility here that he's able to take out the other 3 Tems on Alver's team.
Yeah, exactly that. I mean, the Tornado almost getting the job done, but that +2 special defense at the time gonna keep the bird protected. So Crystal Bite is gonna be flying into the Whiplup, almost enough to just single-handedly one-shot it. Tornado, it might be enough, 31%, but the Kinu buff holding it tight for now.
Absolutely, and Tsunami might actually get a double kill here. That will be a little bit of a spring in the step of Ricky, but there's still 2 more to go, and one of them is an Ukama.
Yeah, one of them is a Ukama that hasn't deployed an aquatic whirlwind yet, so that is online. And one of them is a full HP Machoke, but actually a lot closer than it seems. Whiplup now has Tornado back online, so something like Tornado, Sharp Stab. Actually, wait, Blue, did the Gyalis just overexert? I think it did, right?
Even if it did, if it used Sharp Stab right now, we would die. So it's in a rough position where Water Cannon will kill it. Sharp Stabs is forced basically to just do something at this point. Tornado will shut down. It does a lot of damage with the Machoke, but Water Cannon will come in. Gyalis doesn't even get a chance. Actually, no, it goes to the Whiplup just as the Poison Tick slowly trickling away. Uppercut. No, Gyalis gets 0 chance to do anything. Perhaps it did overexert, but that is
aquatic whirlwind from the Ukama to seal the deal. Doesn't even need the Poison Tick. And guys, ladies and gentlemen, that is the conclusion, guys. Crystal Vanguard, Alver gonna be getting it in a